1, 2, skidoo, rolling. Let's go.
Blind and beyond.
Blind and beyond.
It's the Blind and Beyond Show.
With Harshid Trivedi.
And Dave Hillerbrand.
They'll be talking to all kinds of interesting people in the blindness community. And beyond. I wonder where they could be. Let's check on them now.
Here we are. We made it.
Dave, I think both you and we got to go to the DMV, man. I think we got to get our license checked.
I think so. Well, I'm sure after that they'll want us to have our license to check for sure.
Well, I mean, the bikes are fine, but I think we might have to go to the DMV. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's go to a different DMV actually at this episode. How about that?
Good idea.
Yeah. You think so? Well, I appreciate you're back again, Dave. It's been so much fun to have you do these shows. And I want to introduce to a friend of mine personally. I actually co-host the iBug Android Insight Call. So yeah, I'm on YouTube a lot. Sorry, I'm annoying with all the time you see me. But when we were in that group of iBug today, there's a gentleman that actually came to one of my meetings, and he's an iOS user. However, even a Mac user, let me put it that way. We just started talking, and he had a fancy name to me. It intrigued me. And without any further ado, if I could introduce you to my friend, Shri Roy from Virginia.
Thank you, Hershi. Thank you, Dave, for letting me be part of this program.
Woohoo! It's Shri.
And yes, I am from the DMV area.
The DMV. Well, we had to slide it in somewhere, Shri.
Sure. We all call ourselves the DMV area here. So
fantastic. So, Shri, where did you come about with iBug?
So I started around the end of, or close to the tail end of November. I happened to go into a Mac episode of Mac and Talk, and that's where I started my journey with iBug today. And I've been with them since then.
Could you explain what Mac and Talk? Do you just talk with a Mac? What do you do?
Yeah, Mac and Talk is where we have an open forum where you can come in for Mac users to ask questions about how to do things on the Mac. So it could be as something very simple as how do you do something with VoiceOver to more keyboard commands. It just varies depending on what the community wants, the answers to the question. So it's an open forum. So all you do is you come into the iBug Today Zoom conference link, and then you can just ask questions about how to do something on the Mac. And they offer, I think now, around 27 programs each month. And I'm part of a small program, like Hershi mentioned, that he's with the Android Insight. I facilitate the iBug Cafe. That's where we take an in-depth look at an app inside the iOS. We just recently did a few apps, including the phone app, and we just recently did Bard.
So can we get back to even more basics as to what is iBug in general? I assume, and now I gather that is a group of tech type groups for the blind, but maybe either one of you can fill us in a little more, because I'm old and not so swift, So okay. What is iBug exactly?
Sure. iBug is iBlind Users Group. It's a nonprofit organization based in Houston, Texas. It started some time back, where they want to bring technology to people who are learning how to use VoiceOver. We're predominantly a VoiceOver user group, but we've kind of branched out to do the Android as well as the A-Lady, the Amazon devices. And most of our programs, we've broken it down to different groups. We have the technical side, we have the social side, and we have the educational side. Okay. So I'm predominantly involved in the technical side, where we do open forum for questions on the iPhone as well as the Mac. And we also offer programs where we can give you a one-on-one training to intro to VoiceOver on the iPhone.
Oh man,
as well nice. And it's a pretty good program if you're brand new to your iPhone and you just got it and you don't know how to use it. We'll do a one-on-one. All of the services we offer are completely free, and we will get you connected to one of our proficiency VoiceOver user, and we call it a 24-hour session.
Hey,
So
Shri,
is there a certain criteria that you need to, do you need to prove you're blind, or is there some kind of criteria they're looking for in order to get to even join the iBug group?
Yeah, so there's no, we don't really have a specific criteria. We are mostly, VoiceOver users, but we do have low vision individuals come in, but most of our focus is on VoiceOver, and we just,
kind
if
of
you
a
want,
gentleman's agreement sort of
yes,
thing. I mean,
yes.
you don't have to fill out a bunch of paperwork or anything like that.
No, if you do want to take the class, we do have a form that you need to fill out, so that way we can kind of figure out what you're looking to learn, as well as how we can get you connected with the right mentors. So there is a questionnaire that you would fill out online.
Shri, I wanted to take that word mentor you just used there. Can you help me convince my co-host here, Dave? He has a Mac computer, right?
Yeah.
And learning a Mac computer sometimes could be maybe not daunting, but it could appear as daunting.
It's daunting.
Is it daunting?
It is daunting to me, for sure.
Can you help me convince my friend here that he should come, figure out something with iBug and maybe come
I'm
to
not against the
Macintosh?
idea. I'm just a little scared. That's all.
Yeah, I came from a Windows Android world when I could see, and then I got into the Apple world because my rehab here in Virginia, which is DPVI, and they basically said, we only really work with the Apple devices, and that's how I got moved into it.
Well, I'm not against it, and of course, being a music buff and into other audio type things, I know that the Apple devices are far more stable. It's just it just seems like there's so many more hoops you got to jump through just to get anything out of an Apple device, out of a MacBook or whatever. I mean, you've got to hit like 2 or 3 buttons to engage most anything. So that's the thing that kind of I'm having a hard time getting past.
That's good. That's a very good point there, Dave. It's really, if you like the way I look at it, because I came from vision. I had sight before I lost my vision, so I have a vision of how the Apple world works.
Right.
And I'm converting that into these keyboard commands. But as I perform these keyboard commands, visually, I kind of know what is going on when I perform it.
You're picturing it as you're doing it, probably. I mean.
Absolutely. And
Right.
so for me, that aspect made it a little bit easier to learn it. And, we always have the saying in the Windows world, the smart people use Windows, the dumb people use Mac. That was kind of like the saying.
I did not say that. Shri did.
I'm just saying, like when I was in the Windows world, that's
I
what
think you got to be
say.
smart to be able to use a Mac, is what I think. But I'm certainly not against learning. I'm worried on how long it's going to take. So I'll keep one up and running while I'm working on the other, I guess.
Yeah, well, one of the other programs that we offer here at iBug today, we do have a Mac class. It's a classroom type settings, and I took the class. When I first joined, I took the class too, and it definitely helped me navigate through the Mac pretty well after the class, because we go over the fundamentals of how to get from A to B, B to C, and so on and so on. But there is a logic behind all of this. And, once you understand the logic, you'll say, okay, now that makes sense why I'm doing what I'm doing.
It's coming to me.
Yes.
And that would be great.
Just give it time and let it click.
Okay, you talked me into it.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage you to try it out. I always tell people, come with your open arms. Don't come with your hands folded when you come to class. Come with an open mind, and we will definitely get you going.
Sorry, Hersh. Shri's already talked me into it in 2 minutes. And it's been taking like 3 years for
This
Hersh.
is why he's my friend. He teaches me to speak better quickly. Be convincing. But matter of fact, Shri, if we wouldn't mind, we talked about vision, the word vision. Could we rewind the tape a little? Yeah, cassette tape. Pick a tape.
Sure.
VHS.
Sure.
But we're some old heads here with our old tech.
Hey,
But
I used to have VHS. I used to work in a movie theater, so I know exactly about renting out VHS tapes.
Oh, he's
Blockbuster.
telling his age
Bob's
for sure.
Bob's behind me. Last poster I got from Blockbuster. But anyway,
I've got a couple broken VCRs here. I'm not sure I can get
I still
anything
have
out
a
of them.
VCR in my house because we still have some old VHS tape that I've not converted, so we still
Well,
have
if you
one.
need another one, let me
need 'em.
know. No, I'm kidding.
so
It's hard to
Shri,
find one now. That's the thing.
True story. Where did you go to school, if I may ask?
Sure. So I came to the U.S. in '76. I lived in Tennessee as my dad was getting his PhD, and then we moved to California. So I went to middle school and high school in California, and elementary school elementary school in Tennessee, and then I did my college here in Marymount University here in Arlington, Virginia, where I got my degree in international business and got into IT.
So can I ask you, are you from another country?
Yeah, I'm actually originally born in India.
Oh, cool.
And
Because at first the way you said it, I was thinking that maybe Tennessee. You were thinking Tennessee was a foreign country, which I could understand why you might say that. So I was thinking you were pulling a fast one on me, telling me that Tennessee was, So
yeah, I think
okay, never mind. Sorry, go on.
I think I might have been my brother and myself might have been the first two Indian students in the elementary school where we lived.
No kidding.
You know,
In Tennessee, I
honestly,
could picture that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm so surprised. This is the first time I've ever knew. I was never aware that you were from India originally. I thought
Yeah.
you were. So I'm learning something new about you as well. So thank you for that. And so when you went through, you said not business, is
International business. Yeah.
and then IT. What led you to that? What made you go over there?
That's a great question, and I'll give you a little history about. So when I went to college and I graduated, I had to do an internship. So I worked for the State Department, and the State Department I worked for is USAID. If you heard the news. So when I was at USAID, I worked for the international disaster. So at that time there was no real disaster occurring. So my director took me to FEMA. And I got to work on 3 major U.S. disasters. I came in the tail end of Hugo. So if you live in Florida, you know about Hugo.
Yes.
Oh man.
So I worked in the tail end of Hugo. I worked on the Mississippi flood and the Northridge earthquake. And why I'm saying this is because it told me about how important it is to be prepared for disasters. Because what we did is we supported the Corps of Engineers, the Army Corps of Engineers. And believe it or not, I think that prepped me for when I was losing my sight. I prepared myself for being in a disaster. In this case, I was going to lose my sight. What I have is retinitis pigmentosa, which also known as RP. My older sister and my brother and myself, we all have RP. So all the siblings are blind. And my sister lost her sight in her 20s, my brother in my 30s, and myself in my 40s.
Oh wow.
But what was interesting about all this, when I mentioned about this disaster, for every company I worked at, what I did for these for FEMA is I set up a call center to take in requests from the Corps of Engineers. So if the Army Corps of Engineers needed X, I set up a call center, and throughout the U.S., people will call in. And what we try to do is make sure we try to give the source or the funding to where the disaster occurs, and we kind of spread it going outward. So we try to hit the point where the disaster is. If we can't find that source, then we'll go a little bit further, and then if we can't find it, we go further and further and out. So I set up this call center, and that's where my IT started coming into. So I went from working for FEMA for a little bit, and then I went to the private sector, got into IT, doing telecommunications. So my background is in telecommunications. So I set up call centers throughout the world. I worked with phone switches, but it was all about being prepared for disaster. And I do have to say there is a reason why I got into those things, because it definitely prepared me as I was losing my sight. Because I think I should say my feeling is that if you prepare for something, then when that happens, it's not as bad as if you didn't prepare for it and it happens.
That is true. Not quite as much of a shock. I've got to say a little side note here, since you're, had experience with preparing for disasters and such, and the telecommunications. both Hershey and I are amateur radio operators, or ham operators, and so we
I was thinking the same thing.
both do a lot of stuff when it comes to that and being off the grid where there might not be any cell phones or stuff. And of course, and I've actually handled messages or traffic for emergencies in the past, even the Mexico City earthquake years and years ago. So at some point we're going to have to twist your arm and get you into ham radio, because it sounds like you're already got some great experience. You can be helping us out,
Yeah, mine is more like, where companies have their home PBX switches. So,
right.
And I work for companies that range anywhere from, 100 to 300 to 800 to like 1,000 call centers. Believe it or not, I work for a company that sold cell phones online, and we were the largest online reseller of cell phones in the U.S.
Nice.
That's unheard of, and I'm kidding.
Yeah. and the crazy part was where I worked at, we didn't sell iPhones. We only sold all Android phones.
So let me guess: Sanyo, Samsung,
A lot of
LG.
Samsungs. This is you got to remember, this is the days when the phones were subsidized. So you could buy a phone for a penny or $1.
For our younger listeners, perhaps, but when is this around? You say like 2000?
Gosh, it would have been the early 2000s.
9?
No.
When did iPhone come out?
That's a good question. Let's see.
Come on, iPhone guys. Y'all are. I'm the one with
now.
the
When you were
Android.
cited, you weren't probably even thinking about
oh my gosh,
how stuff would be accessible or whatever. To
it was it was a tail end of when I was leaving. We had certain companies wanted their website to be accessible. It was just like at that time, I was going through the process of losing sight, and it was great to hear these companies wanted to get their website, placing the order and be accessible.
Sure. So they actually have some, morally think that it's an important thing, and not just doing it because they have to.
Yeah. I think they stepped up to the plate instead of people asking them. They themselves stepped up to the plate.
So Shri, you mentioned you're not originally from Tennessee. Well, in a side joke way, but where are you from originally?
So I grew up in South India. So if you guys have a picture of what India is, it's kind of like a peninsula or an upside down triangle.
Kind of like Texas?
Kind of a big way to kind of look at it. I am down by the tip on the East Coast side. And just to give you a little bit of perspective, I don't know if you guys remember that big tsunami that came through some time ago.
Yes.
Yep, I remember hearing about it.
That actually went into the town that I grew up in. The water came in about 1.5 kilometers inland from that tsunami.
That's nuts.
Yeah. But yep, I'm in the South. Very tropical, I guess it would be like Orlando temperature, very hot and humid.
You get a chance to go back and visit?
I did. I just went there last year towards around October. I went there. Unfortunately, I went there when my mom was really sick and she passed away from it. But I was there, and I went the year before around the same time. And I will tell you, in the morning, it was about 98 degrees when I woke up around 9 a.m. in the morning when I go out. So it's
Shri, I could beat that. I was in another place called Ahmedabad, which is in the middle. When I went, it was 44, so roughly 114 degrees.
Yes. My
you went
dad
there the second time. I think you said that it was hotter just most recently, right? You said
us Florida boys are thankful for our 95 degrees here.
My dad was telling me, and I asked him every time, when I'd call him when he was in India, I'd ask him, hey, how's the temperature? He goes, about 110, 114, 115.
That's all.
And
but
so
just fry a couple eggs.
You had humidity to still deal with in South India, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, everything there is concrete. So that intensifies the heat.
Sure.
There's just it's like a boiler over there.
Yes. And then don't think that you'll find ACs just everywhere willy-nilly. I mean, they do have ACs, don't get me wrong.
They do. But I will tell you, I would say India is smarter in that sense, because here in the US we all have centralized AC, unless you do, like the door panel, the window panel ACs. Yes. But in India, they don't believe in centralized. They believe we AC the room that you need the room to be cold, because they don't want that heat or the AC to waste in rooms that you don't occupy.
Just like in Hawaii, I know that they build the buildings to to match the climate. So the walls are super, super thin, and so the building can breathe a little bit better.
So Shri, I got to learn about India and you moving here and college, but what else happened in life for you? Do you have any kids? Do you have a family?
I do. I am married. I do have a daughter who is in medical school, going to a small school in Tennessee now. We started in Tennessee and
Congratulations.
she
Good
landed
job,
in
Dad.
Tennessee. And so she's in there studying
great.
now. My wife works home. She worked for Freddie Mac for a while, and now she took a job with a startup company, and she gets to work remotely, which is what she was looking for, and luckily she found it. And
Yeah, working remote, that's a beautiful thing.
it is. It's one of those things that we as IT people, we get to kind of experience it more than common employee, because usually employees in a company, they come to the office, whereas IT, we're supporting off hours. So we do a lot of remote. And so what I realized is when COVID hit, it was really good to see which companies survived that remote aspect of it and which companies didn't, because that taught us some things about, if you could work remotely during an outage or a disaster like COVID, you can survive. So it's one of those things that I tell people now, kind of a funny thing, because I also teach at the library, which I'll talk about in a second.
Sure. Yes, please.
I'm a right-handed person, so I use my phone with my right hand, but I'm practicing using my phone with my left hand in the event a disaster occurs where my right hand is not usable.
I do similar things where I just test myself with, I'm right-handed too, but just in case I do try to do things out with my left hand. Now I can't play. I'm a guitar player, so I can't switch and play with my left hand and play opposite, like with a left-handed guitar or anything. But there are a number of things, like you say, like the phone or using my ham radio thing. I try to do with the left hand, just in case. Not expecting a disaster, but some even small thing. You can smash your finger on something, and then you got to use the other hand. So.
I was just listening to a book. I just finished listening to a book about a ham radio. It's about a spy from Cuba.
Oh,
She was a spy that used the ham radio to communicate the events that are occurring in the U.S. to send back to Cuba. I think it's I'm trying to remember the book. It's called Queen of Cuba, or I'll have to go look at it, and I can let Hershi know afterwards.
Sure, please do.
But it's a great book, because it kind of talked about how the FBI is tracking her down. She was one of the most wanted on the FBI's on the women list of.
Wow.
And they eventually caught her, and it's a really good book. It's told me about.
I'll read that book for sure. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'll find it for you guys.
It's all about telecommunication. Cool. No, it's about ham radio. I'm kidding. But going back to your current lifestyle right now. So you mentioned marriage and all that. Are you working currently, or are you retired, or where does that sit?
I'm very fortunate that I could stop my regular job, when I was losing my sight, and then I started doing a lot of volunteer work. My goal was that I would volunteer for 4 years, since my daughter got a full ride scholarship to go to college. So I said, because of that, I'd commit to at least 4 years of giving my time. But I've been doing this since, I don't know, maybe 2014. I've been volunteering my time now. So I kind of retired, but I probably work more supporting the blind organizations throughout the U.S. and overseas, doing this kind of stuff, than I did actually taking a 9-to-5 job.
Shri, I think you and I need to partner up real quick, because when you mentioned overseas, I work exactly in your way of life, is volunteer first.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know who you're helping.
Yeah.
I remember one story you told me about a veteran. And again, us being blind doesn't mean that we're not human beings. We have empathy and sympathy for other people.
Yeah.
And so what have you learned so far from, your vision loss, and you've got Mac under your belt, it seems. Feels like you have your iPhone under your belt, but what have you learned from that journey, from childhood, work, and where you sit now?
Yeah, I would say what I've learned probably the most is the glass is always full. It's not empty. don't let people tell you it's empty. It's always full. And when I teach my class, I talk about 3 T's. The first T is when I was diagnosed going blind, everybody's terrified. The first T is we're terrified. And the second T is we go through these trials. We will hit bumps and walls and so on and so, but we will learn. And then eventually the final T is triumph. We will conquer these trials that we go through. And so I always try to keep myself positive. There is silver lining. There is the light end of the tunnel. We just have to keep looking forward. Keep your chin up. Don't think, "Whoa, me." Just your glass is half full. It's not half empty.
That is so true. And the big thing I really got out of what you've said so far that means a lot to me is that you hear about blind folks and other disabilities receiving services, what they can receive. Well, there's a lot that we can give as well, and Shri's and Hersh are perfect examples of that, where they're much more interested in giving back than receiving, and there's plenty of things that lots of blind people can do for volunteering. Sometimes it just takes to be a little creative, but it's important to give back for sure.
Yeah, I always tell myself, people ask me, "Gosh, you do a lot of stuff." I said, "No, I give very little, but I get so much more back."
Yes.
He's just warming up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, just like I'll give you an example. I was teaching an old lady. I think she was about 87 years old. And her goal was to send her granddaughter a text message, things that we take granted because we do it so easily.
That's cool, though.
But I remember we practiced, and that first text message that she sent to her granddaughter, I mean, I could not put into words how thrilled I was. Not only, her daughter was there, the housekeeper was there, and then, the text message that the granddaughter sends back to her, those are things that I cannot put into words. And those are the things that make me do what I'm trying to do now, or what I want to do, actually.
And everybody's thrilled, I'm sure, from the grandma to the people receiving the message and all that. So
it's
just a wonderful thing.
It's just these are things that you can't quantify. It's just you have to be in the moment. You work hard for it, and it's just those trials. We go through a lot of trials, but when we come to the end and you're successful, that triumph feeling like you conquered something, just like learning the Mac. We go through a lot of these. Why am I doing this? What's this? But once it gets that end point, you go, "Oh, okay, now that makes sense."
You guys keep bringing that up.
Yeah, that's my hint to Dave to get back on the Mac.
Well,
I know. I'm signing up tomorrow.
Well, that's the thing is I've always wanted to jump on a Mac. Here in Florida, we have a agency called the Division of Blind Services, just like you mentioned earlier in your area. And hopefully I'll get my vocational rehab case opened up and get some training, especially with the Mac. Because again, it's good to be diverse in, I think, our access technologies, even though I think you and I, Shri, we both are IT minded at first, or we love our technology. But it's also how it works and how can it work for, as you said, emergencies, or what is your backup of a backup? Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I would agree on that. I would also say, you have to also look at your environment. What is it that you're trying to do? Are you trying to get a job? If you're trying to get a job, I would not say go in the Apple world, because most of the job market requires you to know Windows and JAWS and so on. So I think it really depends on what your end goal is. What is it that you want to do? Now, I'm going to say the Mac can definitely do a lot of these things. I hear more companies allowing Mac to be in the work environment. When I was leaving my employment, we did allow having Macs come in. So that is there. What I do enjoy about the Mac is once you kind of get an understanding of it, the world around it, everything just kind of communicates to each other. We all know if you have an iPhone and you have an iPad, well, they all talk to each other. If you get an Apple Watch, well, they all talk to each other. And then if you get a Mac, well, they all talk to each other. And then you get an Apple TV, well, that talks to, your iPhone and your watch. And so they get you entrenched. And once you're entrenched, it's very difficult to get out of that trench, as they say, orchard or the apple
The wall
echo,
garden.
or
Pick a phrase, right?
yeah. It's just
I'll be anxious to talk to you at the other side of the break too about Apple Watches, if you know anything about them, because I've been trying to find out what would I use an Apple Watch for. And a couple people, my wife wanted to buy me an Apple Watch, and I was trying to think exactly, do I really need an Apple Watch? And so far I've been thinking, no, I don't. But I've got a feeling you may change my mind. So we'll soon see.
Yeah, I'll definitely be happy to talk about that.
That sounds good.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
That's right. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we've got Hershi, Dave, and Shri, and millions of viewers here on YouTube. We'll be back in just a couple minutes after a word from our sponsors.
We all know the stories. A blind child can't get a Braille teacher. A blind student won't receive a textbook. A blind adult is barred from a dream career. It's a constant drumbeat of lost opportunities. It's time to change the music. The Cadence Tactile Graphics Tablet is a revolutionary refreshable display that enables users to access images, multiple lines of Braille, and interactive animation. A child can meet their Braille teacher online. A student can carry thousands of books in their pocket. An adult can draw charts, edit diagrams, and collaborate with coworkers in real time. Paint pictures. Play video games. Watch baseball. Create new content and send it out into the world. Learn and live at your own pace. March to your own rhythm. To learn more about the Cadence Tablet, visit cadencetablet.com.
Lynn, I'm looking for the lid to the container for the tuna fish. I want to put the tuna fish in the container, but I can't find the lids.
Michael, the lid is under the toaster oven.
Oh, Lynn, come on now. This is ridiculous. What a joke. Lynn, if you would have gotten Mr. Lid, their lids are attached to the containers. This wouldn't be happening, Lynn.
All right, Michael, I'll go to MrLid.com and we'll get organized.
Thank you.
Tired of losing the lids to food storage containers and cluttered cabinets? Well, Mr. Lid containers solve that with their unique attached lid design, making them easier to find, use, and organize. With sizes from half a cup to 1 gallon, they're stackable, food safe, and easy to clean, making your life easier. Get yours today at MrLid.com. Use code BEYOND15 for first-time customers. That's MrLid.com.
At the Carroll Center for the Blind, vision loss isn't the end, it's a new beginning. Since 1936, we have helped individuals of all ages build the skills, confidence, and independence to thrive in a sighted world. From technology training to mobility and career readiness, we don't just teach, we transform lives. Take charge of your vision loss journey. Visit carroll.org
We all know the stories. A blind child can't get a Braille teacher. A blind student won't receive a textbook. A blind adult is barred from a dream career. It's a constant drumbeat of lost opportunities.
All right, all right, all right. We are back with Hershi, Shri, Dave, and a cast of thousands here on the Blind and Beyond show. Thanks for joining us, and we were just talking to Shri about all kinds of cool stuff with Apple products. And Shri, if you're still with us, I wonder if you can fill me in a little bit on the Apple Watch, because being blind yourself, you've obviously found some good uses. So tell me about them. I'm interested.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I've had a Series 1, 5, 7. I have an Ultra now. And to be honest with you, Dave, I don't really use my watch to tell time. I use it for many of the things besides just time.
Right.
Obviously, for workout, it keeps track of my elliptical, my core workout, maybe going for a walk. It keeps track of that. It keeps track of my sleep behavior. It tells me if I slept well or not slept well. But I'll tell you something that's more important. It's being able to communicate without the phone. Meaning, let's say, for example, you left your phone in, let's say, in one end of the house and you're walking somewhere else. You have the ability to answer your phone with the watch.
That is true, and that happens all the time for me. In fact, right before the show, Brenda graciously went and grabbed my phone that was ringing on the other side of the place here. So
yeah,
that would have been a lot easier if I could just grab my phone, for sure.
Yeah,
so you can talk into your phone. This is like I Spy something. So
it's almost like Dick Tracy.
Yeah, exactly.
Tracy. But I'll give you a much more important, besides just that you could talk. If, God forbid, your phone was in the other end of the house and you fell in the other end of the house, and you needed to call like emergency, or you need to call your wife or somebody else, you could do that with the watch. And then, that to me is very important. And I'll give you an example of this. I'm sure in the news you guys heard about the avalanche that happened in California, where
it just happened, right?
Yeah. But there was also there was also a avalanche in Utah, in which they were able to find the people because of their Apple Watch.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. That's interesting.
And a friend of mine, needed emergency. He didn't have his phone. He used the watch to make a phone call. And for me, I have the cell service, so I don't feel like I'm tied to my phone. I can actually be, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I left my phone behind. Now I can't use my phone.
Right.
So if I'm out in public, I can still use my phone with my watch.
Sure. And just like you were saying, Hal, you don't have to be close to your phone to actually answer it. What has happened to me so many times, and you mentioned about injuring. Well, trying to almost break your neck trying to get to your phone. That's where I get injured, is running to the other side of the house and whack your foot on a chair or something because you're wanting to grab your phone too fast. So
Sure.
yeah, I can see that. Then I would really need the Apple Watch.
So hopefully I've convinced you the Mac, and I've convinced to the watch. I will say,
This is scary, man. We're gonna have to cut him off. This is gonna cut this thing short. It's gonna cost me too much money for this.
That's
this
the
interview.
downside of Apple. Things can start adding up. But I bought it in stages. I didn't go all out and do this.
Sure.
It's you get it when you need it. I would say it's a very it's a part of me. A lot of people just have a watch to tell time, and obviously we can use our phone to tell time, or we can ask our favorite assistants to tell time if you have an iPhone. But this just gives me a little bit more freedom and security with the watch. And obviously, it does have crash detection if you're involved in a crash or if you fall down. It can call what we call emergency SOS. It'll notify emergency services as well as your family members who you assign in the SOS. It'll ping them. It'll give them a date. It'll give them a text saying, "Hey, you've fallen or you need some emergency," and it'll tell them exactly where it happened to. It'll give them a GPS
Dave's
location.
falling over again.
Yeah.
No, kidding.
Keep doing that, Dave. Stop falling over.
That's right.
So,
But Shri, I was going to ask you if you could school me a little. Can you explain to me what are the new M5s that just came out? I'm sure you probably know about these things.
That's an Apple device, I do believe.
Well,
explain what I mean
a
by
processor. You know how we have Intel processor. The
Right.
M is the Apple's version of their processor that they call the silicon processor. And right now, the M5 is the latest processor that they put on computers. And I can't tell you from a hardware specs, how fast something is, but it's M5 is the latest processor that got in their new laptop and desktop that just got released recently.
And to remind everybody, VoiceOver works on a Mac, an iPhone,
And it's
a
built
watch.
right in. That's
It's
the
built
beautiful
in.
thing.
Yeah, that's the great thing about, I will say Apple did it right, is VoiceOver was always built in their early adoption of their devices. So it was built in, you didn't have to buy a third-party app, or you had to worry about, okay, if you bought a third-party, is it going to work with the current operating system? It works. It's built into the hardware. So, and I will tell you, and I always bring this up to Hershi, because, Hershi is obviously an Android user.
Hey.
One thing Apple does really well from an accessibility perspective is their support. They have all their agents are in the US. They're open 24/7, 365 days, and you're talking to a live person when you ask an accessibility question.
So, you
yeah.
know what, Shri? I want to give you some news.
Okay.
Dave and I actually got to go to ATIA, Assistive Technology Industry Association.
Yeah.
And wow, what a gift. For one, I was looking for one gentleman that works with them in the education department, so to speak.
Yeah.
And they invited us to a feedback session. And Dave, you want to kind of give what you experienced there for the audience, and maybe Shri could understand? Because there's some websites like accessibility@apple.com that I learned. I don't know if you use it.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the details, I'll let you get deeper into the weeds, but it really was an excellent opportunity because there so many things that were great on an iPhone, but there are always some weird glitches, especially with updates and whatnot. And they were very open to hearing any and all of the problems that we've had with various problems with the iPhone. So,
so gentlemen, both of you are Apple iPhone users. What is one bug that you both find commonly? Is there anything that I'll let Shri go first. If you have a bug that just bothers you right now.
I'll think of one. But I did want to say about the Apple accessibility. And, for me as an iPhone user, I will tell you a small portion of my time every day, I'm talking to Apple accessibility, trying to figure out why this is working and this is not working. And I always take it from a sighted perspective. If a sighted person can do something on their iPhone, I'm expecting VoiceOver to be able to do that. In some form, I should be able to do the same task. It might look and feel different and accomplish the task, but I want to be able to achieve the end goal. So I'm always finding something wrong, and I will take a screen recording of it. I will give them logs. I will do whatever they need to try and resolve the problem. And some of them, me coming from an IT, doing help desk, being in the IT world, I scratch my head like, how do they miss this bug?
Come on.
This should not have.
But that's very important. What you stated about taking the screenshot, taking information. So, and you don't have to be an IT person to know this, but when you're going to be contacting the Apple accessibility or any tech people for that matter, it's important to have a little bit of background info before you contact them, so that they can help you a whole lot faster and easier. So,
what I've also noticed is a lot of people in the social media will complain about a problem but not report it out.
I was just going there. Yeah, it's broken. Oh.
It's broken, but and like sometimes I open up a ticket. I go,
did you mention it to anybody?
Yeah, I'll ask them, hey, has others reported this problem? They go, no, we're hearing it for the first time. I'm going, it can't be.
I've heard it more than that.
So I would definitely encourage people to share your information to the community, but you've got to share it to Apple, because they are the people that are going to fix the problem.
I agree 110%, because they're not knowing what's going on in the wild. And we might be talking amongst our groups, let's say ACB, NFB, wheelchair group, this group, any group, right? And if they are not aware, they wouldn't know. One funny one, Tahoe recently has been making the virtual keyboard disappear on people. And so people that have mobility issues, really difficult to use operating system, period.
Mm-hmm.
And what was really, really fascinating is with the feedback session of what I remember is we had people from New York, people from Massachusetts, school board members, et cetera, et cetera. But the reason why I'm bringing this point up is we work by numbers. If there's something wrong, then that's what I was trying to hear, both of you guys, if there's something wrong or a bug, then we work together, not to say, well, it's broken. It's broken doesn't get us anywhere. But collectively, I feel, hey, Shri, okay, what's going on with yours? 16, what version are you using? 17.2 point whatever. You get to learn that maybe this is a small isolation that you got to do. And the notes that go back to Apple will make sure that bug or whatever it is squashed quickly.
Yeah.
So speaking of bugs, since Shri is an iPhone user too, I have to tell you my most irritating bug, and you already know a way around it, Shri, but the folks
so I bring it up.
But the folks at Apple didn't seem to be surprised and said, yeah, we have that problem too, and whatever. So, and that is I've got the 16 Pro, I think it is.
Yeah.
And this touchback feature, or maybe that's not what it's called, but
back tap.
Back tap. Sorry, thank you. So no matter what I set this back tap setting on the accessibility, I can put my phone down very lightly, and maybe 1 out of 10 times VoiceOver will go off.
Yep.
VoiceOver is shutting down or whatever. Yeah. And that is seriously annoying. And you would think that they'd be able to get past that, but
yes, I'll give you my 2 cents for that. So I always tell people when they use the back tap, the feature, you have 2 options to back tap. I always tell them program that to something that is not extremely critical. Like,
turn on work focus.
So, like, for example, what I use the back tap is, and I find it very helpful, is I want to go to the status bar, because a lot of things can benefit for VoiceOver user when VoiceOver focuses on the status bar. So I have mine set to go to the status bar when I do a 1-finger double tap. So when that happens, if it accidentally does go there, no damage occurs. The VoiceOver focus just goes from where it is to the status bar. But I love the fact that just with the 1-finger double tap, I can go to the status bar, and then in there I can I can do a one finger double tap and have it automatically scroll. Like if I'm in page 15, like in an email, if I'm in the mail app and I'm on page 550, one finger double tap on the back tab takes me to the status bar. One finger double tap anywhere on the screen, I've scrolled all the way back to the top, page 1.
Okay, I've got to do some experimenting with that because I
You better re-listen to the show, Dave. I'm just telling
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
This man knows his stuff.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff, and like I said, I don't recommend the back tap to do like the app switcher or things that I think may affect the voiceover aspect to cause something that might cause more grief. I want it to be more productive. I want it to do something where it helps me, but it's not going to cause a lot of issues.
Well, it's definitely good at shutting voiceover off. I found that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The good stuff I'm still working on. So
yeah, I will tell you a bug that I was like I was somewhat upset. So one of the features that came with the iPhone was screen sharing. So let's say, Dave, you had a problem with your iPhone. I could screen share your iPhone so I could see what's on your screen. Sighted people have that feature with the iPhone.
Right.
But with a VoiceOver user, it doesn't work.
Oh,
I could never get it to work.
unfortunate.
Like, I'd have to turn VoiceOver off and, take my chances and see if I touched on the right area of the screen to connect. But the VoiceOver would, instead of connecting that one particular button, it's capturing the whole screen. So I can't double tap to connect the screen sharing. So that was like a bug that like I scratched my head and I said, when they have tested this, when they got released, so that the people that need the most support, which would be us, not the sighted people, the people that really need help would be us, that feature didn't work.
This is true. It's certainly not working when I've tried anything similar. So
Yeah, so
maybe they'll catch this episode, or at least
Accessibility at apple.com.
if we keep on mentioning it, someone's is gonna hear it. So
and I will also say, Apple accessibility are human beings. You're going to get people that know the stuff, and you're going to get people that may not know it well. So don't yell at them. Don't get mad at them. If you don't find that you got the best answer to your question, just kindly say thank you and call back.
Yeah, try it again in another hour, because it's the same thing as customer service for other, like you say, other companies. I've had nothing but good luck with Apple so far, but I've heard some people complain.
And that goes for all disabilities as well. It's not just blindness or this. The point I really love that you said, and I'm so happy you're on the show, Shri, is they're all human beings.
Yeah,
right. They're not our slaves and whatever. They're helping us, and they're doing a job, and we're all trying to get this through this thing together. So you gotta
respect.
Respect. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think they're here to help us. They're not here to cause us problems. They're here to help us, and they're not going to know all the answers. I mean, this is a very, very complicated device. They said that this device that we're holding in our hand is much more powerful than the ship that took people to the moon, right?
Right.
So,
right.
There's a lot of components in this thing, and me being in IT and supporting in a help desk environment, I didn't know all the answers. You're never going to know the answers. I'll never, like, people ask me, Shri, oh, you've mastered the iPhone. And I always say, no, the only one that's mastered anything is Yoda. We're always just learning, we'll just continuously learn.
Plus, they're always switching it. It's not, it's always, it's fluid. So things that you knew last year may not apply right now. So
yeah, and that's the greatest thing about being in an IT is every year I know something new is coming, and every year I know I have to learn something new. So that's makes
exciting too.
Yeah,
yes.
That makes the joy in this whole journey enjoyable, is because
some people hate that aspect of it, but some of us like it.
Yeah, that's part of me in the IT world, because we're all IT world is always evolving. It's never constant. What we got 2 years ago, some of it's obsolete, and some new things come on, and AI has been like I could talk about AI for a long time here, because
Nice.
it has really helped the blind
Ramped up.
community.
Yes. Well, Shri, we've been talking about work, this, work that, tech. What does Shri Roy do for leisure?
Leisure, that's a great question.
Yeah,
too.
what do you do for fun?
I go to the movies. I am a
Audio described is your thing too?
Audio described. We were talking about my path here. I worked at a movie theater. I worked at a video store, and I've always enjoyed going to the movies. So, we have our AMC Plus benefit here, so I can go see 4 movies each week. And so my wife and I, we try to go to the movies very frequently.
Name one of the James Bonds.
Oh God, I can name a whole bunch of James Bond.
Just name one.
For Your Eyes Only, Dr. No.
Give me the Bond. Well, who is the actor for Bond?
I would say for me, I'm a big Roger Moore fan, but I did enjoy watching.
No, Sean Connery.
Yeah, so I was going for Sean Connery.
I think Roger Moore was more of my kind of type because I grew up watching The Saint, and then going from The Saint to being a Bond, I could just see that. He had the I don't know what you call it, the pizzazz. I don't know.
Pizzazz, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he just like, you can just people look at him and go, oh, okay. You want me to do that? You want me to jump off the cliff? Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. Whereas Sean Connery would actually have to push you over.
Yeah, he's got confidence, but he's got that style too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I like the new Bond too. It's too bad that he's retiring from it too.
So have you had good luck with video description in a movie theater? Because I've had mixed. I mean, it seems like maybe half the time the stuff doesn't work.
Yeah. So I will tell you, I don't know about other theater companies, but AMC, they had this old device, which was terrible. I mean, I would say probably my success rate was probably like 20%. Like I could have 10 devices and 2 of them would probably work.
Well, thank goodness I'm not the only one, at least.
Yeah.
I really was thinking I was the only one for a while.
No, it was horrible. And they got a new device, but I will tell you, it's terrible design because it is not accessible for a blind person.
Right.
But once it's set up, it works like a charm.
So do you bring your own headphones
typically? I do. And that's one thing
too.
So that's one thing, because I like to go watch movies in IMAX or Dolby Digital where the sound is extremely loud. So I take an over-the-ear headphones that has noise cancellation also built in. So if I do find the volume to be extremely loud in the theater, I'll turn on noise cancellation, which, it dims the movie theater sound, but I get perfect audio description because it kind of cancels the sound with the over-the-ear headphones. So
right. I've seen, using their headphones that sometimes are basically like open ear headphones.
It is.
You can hear so much, it's really difficult. And then I've even brought some of my own that I thought would work well. But no, definitely something that seals is important, because I don't go to the extra loud movies necessarily, but I think most of them are loud enough that you could benefit with a close.
Shri, how about live plays or anything like that? Do you do any touch tour plays and things like that too?
Well, I'll give you one good example. I went to a concert. We have Wolf Trap, and just for the audience,
yeah,
when
look
we
at
say
you, Wolf
DMV.
Trap.
That's just it means
that is DC, Maryland, Virginia. Sorry if we've been using acronyms, but
DMV. So we have a concert venue called Wolf Trap, and I ended up getting connected to the director of services there, and I went to go listen to a concert where they were it was a UB40 concert, and they actually got me an audio describer to describe the concert for me.
No way.
Now, I will say I have mixed feelings about listening to audio description on a live concert, because it's very hard to choose between the description with a concert. So I have not I would say that itself I would not do it again, but I have gone to some museums where I've had audio description, which I enjoyed. But I've also taken my phone. Like I went to the Stonehenge in England, and I just took my phone out, and I think I used Seeing AI text detection. And now they had all these placards as I walk along this path, and every time my phone recognized text, I just stopped, point the camera towards it, and read the placard, and then move to the next one.
There you go. And sometimes it's even better than having to ask a sighted friend to read. This way you can have them read the whole thing or as much as you want. And a lot of the AI detection stuff on the phones are a whole lot better nowadays. I mean, they detect a lot of stuff.
They do. I took a picture of my daughter, and my wife was kind of describing the picture, but then I had Be My Eyes describe it. It actually described what she was actually holding in her hand, which my wife didn't describe.
Oh yeah,
So
that is neat.
yeah, we're in some good times with accessibility and AI. A lot of people talk some negative things about AI, but in the blind community, I think they have really stepped up to help us.
Yeah, but I'm still learning just, the very small part of the possibilities. But what I've used so far has been huge for studying, for even learning a piece of equipment, using AI to ask it to describe the front panel of a device. And it does
Shri,
quite well. So
again, I want to say a huge thank you for joining us today. But what is one thing that I might have forgotten to ask you, or you want our audience to know?
Like I just said,
what's your favorite color?
My favorite color is purple.
Okay,
it's my mom's favorite color, so I've loved purple since I was a kid.
That was a special test question. I had to throw that in there.
Like I always just, my whole thing is, if I say anything that you want to remember, is keep your chin up. The glass is always full, and don't let people tell you can't do something.
Perfect. Thank you.
I think that's perfect. Shri, it's been such a pleasure, man. And, I'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, let me know. Hershi, Hershi has my contact information. If you ever need any person time slot that you need me to come in, let me know. This is a good time for me.
Awesome. That would be great.
And,
great public service, and talk about giving back. I know you've helped out a lot of people, including me.
Well, if you have any questions with the Mac, definitely check out, like I said, ibugtoday.org. And if you have any questions, always reach out to. I'm more than happy to help. So reach out to me if you need assistance.
I will be signing up for the Mac class.
Again, thank you so much for your time, your always your mentorship. I find as you are my friend in real life, but the mentorship, the stories. Thank you so much for helping me drive a journey pathway to my success. So thank you so much, Shri.
Yeah, I think Hershi, you and I share the same journey path, and we definitely share information, and I appreciate our friendship too. And Dave, it's great meeting you. I look forward to our communications in the near future.
Indeed, we will do that, and I thank you so much.
All right,
great pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be on to our next guest here shortly, Miss Shri Brun. And before we do that, I think Dave has a couple things to say, I think.
I do. It's funny. Now that you mention that, we've got a couple important things. with our last word from our sponsors. We had something from Go Touchable, the folks that make the Cadence tablet, and they have got a special CSUN code for a discount. And Dave Schleppenbach and team are out in Anaheim for the big CSUN conference, one of the
Dave,
biggest.
Is my memory correct? Can I say the number, how much it cost? Let's test my memory.
You can say how much it costs.
$3,450 for a solo pocket.
Yeah, this is a special price between. Well, they're going to be out there in Anaheim from March 9th to the 13th in booth TT10. By the way, TT10, and so they have the pocket Cadence for a super low price right now. And so it is pretty exciting, and so you either you can catch up to them at the booth, or go onto their website, and they'll honor that through the 31st.
Yes, indeed, and we will be certain that we gather all information best as we can to post it in the description. Just give us at least a day, because sometimes with processing and things, sometimes things might get delayed. But if you do drop a comment, if you could please, we could actually get that code sent to you. So drop a comment if you're interested in the Cadence tablet. And matter of fact, I just posted a video on my personal channel at WCABAR. I was actually there with them at ATIA, Assistive Technology Industry Association. So if you do want to see what it looks like, or want to learn about a person that is actually using it in real life, please do go visit youtube.com/@WCABAR to catch that video. I will certainly try to get the links from that to drop it into the description for you a little later.
And I've got to mention too that I am a user of the Cadence tablet. I've got one myself, and I love it.
What was the Eclipse like? Because I heard some cool things with the Eclipse. You didn't have to move your hand, huh?
Well, the only thing you had to do is you could actually touch the device, the screen on the Cadence, and actually feel as the moon went across the screen and eventually covered the sun. They hooked up the Cadence to a telescope, and you literally could feel where the sun was and feel the moon as it moved, and eventually covered the sun. So quite a neat thing to be able to.
A couple more prices for you, Dave. A couple more prices that I had a phone call right before show. For if you're looking to, okay, well, what is a Pocket going to do for me? Because I need keys 4, 5, and 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because that's what makes a Perkins keyboard. Is that right?
Well, that's true. Although there are ways of using the Pocket and sending
in a single mode, correct?
Yeah.
With the shift keys, I think go watch the video. But in any case, the price for Pocket, which is 2, or no, excuse me, the Pocket is 1, Pro is 2 at $6,900, and I believe is $13,800 for the quad, so you get 4 pieces, and they all kind of modularly connect to each other. And I got to feel it when I was interviewing the person, as you'll see. That thing has come a long way, Dave. I mean, what you're in the first generation users, right? You started like way back in the Wayback Machine.
I started pretty far back, and it's definitely come quite a long ways. And it's hard to believe how they could make it any lighter than it is right now. But it will already do some amazing things besides just Braille and graphics and even raised
tell you
print,
what, Dave,
all kinds of stuff.
If they want to know who makes these things, Dave Schleppenbach actually was on last week. He's actually at the factory.
They could just catch one of our last episodes.
Catch one of our last episodes.
Oh, another code we got to mention real quick too is the
Coca-Cola.
No, not for that one. Yeah, no, the code red. No, this one is for the. There's really cool containers, Mr. Lid.
Beyond 15.
Yes, Beyond indeed. 15. So what Beyond 15 does is give you a 15% bonus for your first purchase from Mr. Lid. So it's well worth doing, and it's a cool device. We've got several here, and like the ad says, the beautiful thing is you don't have to hunt for the lid. So check out Mr. Lid on the internet. So now, my friends, we've got the world famous Shri Brun with us. Shri Brun, woohoo! Shri is going to is a good friend of the show and a good friend of mine and Hersh, and she's been so kind to join us. Shri is totally blind, and tonight we're going to talk about different types of transportation, how we get around, and hopefully we'll have her back to talk about a lot of things, because she is well versed on so many different things. But say hello there, Miss Shri. You know what? I think we've got to.
She could be muted, so if she.
We may need to unmute. Her possibly.
Okay, am I
there
doing
you go.
There
we go.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, Ms. Shri. And so could you let our audience know, where do you come from? I know we kind of talked about it in turn, but where do you come from?
Well, I'm from Orlando, Florida. I have lived there for a very long time, but I actually did all my world traveling by the time I was 3. And I started out being born to my mom and my dad, who was a government worker for civil service. Back in the day, which was a long time ago, they sent them on tours of duty, almost like military people. So I was born at an Air Force base in the Philippine Islands, which has since been covered over by a volcano. Isn't that exciting?
Kidding.
And So I was born there, and then my mom had been in the Philippines for about 13 years total, wanted to go home, took myself, my brother, and my little sister, who was 17 months younger than me, home to the United States, to Florida. And my dad stayed over and finished what he had to do. Then he came back, and he ended up being transferred to an Air Force base where he worked in civil service in Utah, Hill Air Force Base. My mom was very happy about that because the town where the Air Force base was the same town where the school was, basically. So I could stay home and go to the school for the blind there.
That was helpful for sure.
Yeah, it was helpful. I got to grow up in my neighborhood with all my friends and my sister's friends. And
so you like the school for the blind
I
there in
did.
Utah?
I did. I learned a lot there. That's a whole subject in itself that would take a whole hour just to talk about residential versus non-residential living.
That's true, and something
and
we definitely would like to cover at some point, because
you're more than welcome to, because people don't realize the resources that they have. Right?
I went to my local residential junior high, but there are times I wonder if there are certain skills I might have picked up at a school for the blind that I didn't get through public school, and vice versa. I think some things I might have.
Oh, I do too.
There that I wouldn't have got in a blind school. So you gotta appreciate and go with what you got.
Yes.
Essentially.
So I grew up in Utah. Went there to the school till I was in 10th grade. Finished off at public school, high school. So it was like culture shock, because I went from a school of about 80 to 100 kids total, from 1st to 10th grade, to a school with 2,150 kids. And it was amazingly different. And I'm glad I had the opportunity, but it was something to get used to. And then my parents moved back to Florida. I got married, and they talked my ex and I into moving to Florida, and I've been here ever since. So
very good. And how long you've been here in the Orlando area?
Since the end of the 70s, which shows you how old I am. So
we're all children at heart, I think, and I'm the biggest kid here. But so when you moved to Florida, what was kind of that? Was it school, career? What really brought you to?
I just wasn't getting any. I had been trained at the time when, I'm sure you guys are aware, the different powers that be try to push you into careers. And
Sherry, excuse me, sorry to interrupt, but I do need to tell Hersh that evidently we can't see Sherry.
What? I was there. I don't know what's going on.
It might not be you. It could be.
Well, it's definitely on.
It's about lighting, and you know what? It's perfectly fine. We could coach you through it, and this is what we like. We're live. We're a bunch of blind folks here. And
but there's sighted people watching.
When there's sighted people watching too, so we love to at least make sure that, and this is why we spend the time.
No, it still says video is on.
Video's on. Just Ms. Sherry, if you can, turn on a light is what we're hearing.
Yeah, I think I have one on, but let me. Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe just another light, but it's all an experiment here.
Yes, it is. It is.
And
that's
just
the beyond
so people get
part.
a picture to the face, kind of thing.
Okay, tell.
We like your
Dave,
smiling
just
face.
chat for a minute. I have to actually put the headphones down and stand up. So, I'm sorry for that interruption. I'll do my best. Hold on.
Quite all right. Yeah, you're good. And
we'll go back to wow, this has been an incredible episode. Dave, I think we're just too late. We could have been traveling at age 3, Dave. We could have seen the world. Are we in the wrong industry?
And I had no idea that Sherry was originally from the Philippines, but
like just mind blowing every time. Seriously.
Yeah, I'm the one that's the unusual one here, born in Florida, because everybody else on the show is got the international twist to them. So.
Well, I'm from Zambia. Yeah, let's see. We got some feedback. I hear some feedback.
You might be hearing my cats chatting.
It could be
away
cat.
here.
Yeah. Okay. Is that? Okay.
The
So
cat is
I
got
thought we
some
had
things to
heard
say.
the wonderful Miss Brenda. Maybe one day she'll want to come on this show. Maybe.
Yes, you did hear Brenda for a second. She
Okay.
was the one that mentioned about having difficulty seeing
No
Sherry,
worries, and
so, but
we'll get
either
Miss
way, we're
Sherry
good.
going. Again, we want our sighted counterparts to know who we all are. We did try to get everybody's video sorted out, but sometimes the lights go off, or you know what? It's not always necessary for a blind person to have the lights on, because for some of us blind folks, the lights are terrible. I mean, they will piercingly hurt your face, right? Like some people just have a photophobia, I think it's called.
Right.
And you're super sensitive to light.
And we do have a lot of blind viewers or listeners on the YouTube
Absolutely.
show. So,
And I really do thank Miss Sherry for taking the time to.
if there's no video, don't sweat it.
Don't sweat
Sherry.
it, please.
Because we're happy to talk to you either way. We got.
Yes.
We particularly want to talk to Sherry about.
Oh, I did turn on the light, and
Okay.
I am back, and
Beautiful.
I don't know.
Like we were
right.
saying, it's
She's
not
back
it's
and
not,
back. Here she is.
not a big deal at all. But we appreciate you making the
Thank
effort.
you for making the effort for us on
for-
Blind and Beyond show.
for those sighted people in their sighted.
I think Cammie agrees
difficulties.
too. If you hear
Yeah,
Cammie in the
Cammie-
background, she's like, yeah.
Exactly. Cammie says, "Yeah, that's right."
And the only other thing I can do is turn off video, and then what I have is a background, and it just has a picture of me. I don't know if that would be
Whichever
better.
you feel more comfortable.
Well,
Miss Sherry.
I'm fine.
Because
I'm
with
not
the
looking at
photo,
it.
people get to see if you want to keep it like this. Let's keep it like that.
Okay.
What you come in us with the information that you have is what I'm falling in love with.
Thank you. And
Because
because
honestly,
yeah,
we've all lived close to each other, but we've never really sat down and talked.
that's
Right?
right.
Like, to really learn about our cultures, or like you met my friend Tree earlier. You were listening in, and
Yeah,
you
that was
mentioned
fascinating.
focus or autofocus. Matter of fact, what was that about? You said when you're double back tapping, what is your go-to? Was it focus mode or something? You said.
Mine's turn on and off base voiceover.
Okay, so Dave, will that work for you?
No, because unfortunately, mine turns on and off all the time, no matter what I put it on. I don't want it to turn it off, and it still does. So that's all right. That
Still
is
a
the
problem,
way
but I hope both of y'all got some education there with the iBug team and everything else. But Miss Sherry, let's go back to you. And so we're in Orlando. You
Yes,
stayed here, and
Yes, I did.
What's next?
well, we liked Orlando. I got a job. I worked as a medical transcriptionist,
Ooh.
first at a hospital for 5 years, and then other various jobs, and then from home, and did that and till just a few years. Oh, and had 3 children in the process. So one of the
that's a
things that-
full-time job, or
is-
two right there.
So they got my 2 daughters are they have enough. They're not considered legally blind, but they were born with congenital cataracts. So they had some vision, some training, and help, like learning how to track and learning how to. But fortunately, they ended up with enough vision they can both drive cars and stuff. So that's pretty cool. But we started out at an early age, because I became involved with the National Federation of the Blind, and I started attending their national conventions before I ever had my kids. And then when I had children, I was after my marriage kind of didn't work out, so I was a single mom, and I got the joy and pleasure of taking them back and forth to these different conventions all over the country, and most of them
wow.
involved flying. The first time when I was still with my husband, he was unable to go, and one of the incidents I had was a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old, and that was pretty exciting, because you really have to get assistance to make it through TSA, and of course, and this was all pre 9/11 when things were a lot easier, but still in all,
Yeah. How you managed to get through with 3 kids is a big question. Now, once again, sorry to interrupt, but I do want to mention, I know that there are a couple people that had some comments on our YouTube page, and we will get to those in just a couple minutes. So we appreciate that. I think Kelly
Yes,
is one of them.
Quick
and
apologies to our
Oh,
audience.
hi, Kelly.
We don't have
others as
a couple
well,
people. We don't have Mike today, unfortunately. We'll see what we could do for bringing Mike back. We love having Mike in the chats. So,
But Brenda's going to help out with reading some stuff here in a few minutes. But
Wonderful.
But we certainly want to talk to you about, especially the big thing I really wanted to talk to you about tonight was
the DMV, right? The DMV?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, sorry, apologize.
How blind people get around, because I consider you, like us, Sherry, we're just the average guy and or gal. Certainly don't do any, we don't have any incredible abilities, but what made me think about calling you and having you on the show was hearing you come back on a bus. She takes buses, trains, planes, automobiles, and maybe submarines, for all we know.
Not yet. I'm working on that.
Not as of yet. So,
Dave, it's a mission to do next. All three of us, we need to go submarine diving somewhere.
Exactly. But and of course, blind people can take all these different forms of transportation. Some are better than others, and it's important to know how best to handle that. So, you mentioned planes at first, and going with kids, which I'm sure is extra special. So, tell me how you go about doing that. And there is a slight controversy amongst blind people taking planes, and that's sometimes using wheelchair. And some people find that works a lot easier. We've certainly done that many times to get through the system a lot faster. But I'd love to hear what you do and how do you handle getting those kids through the system.
The children, when they were little, it was more difficult. As they got older, they kind of watched out for their stuff as we went through security and everything. But there's a lot of trust involved in traveling when you're blind. And if you do ask for assistance, you have to make sure that, especially that you get the stuff back that you started with when you put it on the conveyor belt.
Oh, yeah.
And that always made me nervous, because I would always think, what if something is missing? But I have had very good luck with that. I've only had a luggage delay a couple of times, and that went okay. But with children, it's very important to teach them rules like stick with me, hold my hand, don't be running off. I see kids in airports now, they run ahead of their parents and they do all this stuff. And I'm like, there is no way I could have done that. So it's that's the whole thing about parenting toddlers. And when you're blind, that's a whole other avenue we could go down sometime. But basically it's communication, a lot of communication. But once you're clear and you have all your stuff, you get on the plane, the flight attendants are usually very helpful. And as I said, as my kids got older, they fended a little more for themselves all the time, and it got easier and easier to travel. Now, of course,
do you find that there's anything different as far as even just getting on the plane, so that you know that you're getting on the right plane, for example? Because actually, that does bring back a story. I would like you to mention, because I know you've had plenty of successful trips, but
I can tell you about it was successful ultimately. It was just an adventure.
Yeah, just a slight detour.
Slight detour. Well, the last National Federation of the Blind convention was in New Orleans, Louisiana, and got there, enjoyed the convention, had a great time, and I went to go home, and it turned out that the person that traveled with me, we just happened to have the same flight. She was coming into Orlando to get a trip to Melbourne from, Uber or whatever she could do. And I keep track of things. I say, please, I want text messages if anything changes. Please let me know. So we got through the gate, and I'll try to make a long story short, but we were told to change gates, and it was only 2 gates down, but there was really no one helping us. So I called Aira, because I use Aira a lot, and they kind of guided me verbally and got me to the other gate. Instead of 24, it was 26. And the person at the gate agent said, I don't know what you're doing here. That, I didn't call you. And I said, well, it said on the speaker that to change gates.
Sure.
And we had found out our flight wasn't coming in till 9:30 that night. And we were there, it was about 5 o'clock. So we figured we had time to kill, and we went to get something to eat. And then we came back, and all of a sudden on my phone, I started getting these text messages that said, your flight is boarding shortly. And this was about 7 p.m. And I'm like, what is going on? So went up again to the counter. It says my flight is boarding on my text messages. Do I need to be at yet another gate, or what is going on? Oh, no, your flight really isn't due until 9:30. I don't know why you're getting those messages. And I said, well, I don't know either, because this is Southwest and you guys are usually really good. So I need to know if there's some change I need to make. And I feel like I dotted all my I's and crossed my T's, and I went back.
Well, everything you could possibly do at that point.
And I called Southwest and I said, listen, I'm getting these text messages. When is flight so-and-so going to be here? They said, oh, your plane is late. It will not arrive till about 9:25, 9:30 p.m. Okay. And then I got this, your flight is boarding. This is the last call. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm just supposed to ignore this?
She's in the twilight zone.
Yeah.
Folks.
So then it went, whatever that flight was. And we just waited around and walked around and went to Starbucks. And then about 9:20, we got this announcement to go back to gate 24 from gate 26. And so we knew the way. We walked back over there, and there was this very friendly flight attendant that says, your plane is here. We're ready to board you. We have a surprise for you. And Camille is our NFB state president. I said, oh, really? What is that? You
champagne, maybe?
No, yeah, right. You and Camille are the only passengers on the plane. Like, what? Yeah. I said, why? What's going on? Well, we're not sure, but Southwest sent the plane back just for you. Like,
what luck?
Okay. So we went and got on this huge plane. It was and I got pictures. I had the flight attendants help. I got pictures of the crew and the flight attendants and the seats, the empty seats going way, way, way back to the back of the plane. And no one ever explained what happened. The only thing
weird.
It was
did
weird.
you two play tag in the plane?
No, we didn't. We were too tired. We actually sat across from each other and took up the whole aisle and row and kind of stretched out and relaxed. And then we made it back. And by that time, poor Camille, she'd missed her ride home, and Ubers weren't coming in for a long time. So my son, I have a son who lives with me, and I called him to come get me. And I said, do you think we could give her a ride home? And he graciously said yes.
Wow,
so
that
we
was
took
an
her
adventure.
home. By the time I walked in my house, it was 4 a.m. And the only word I got from Southwest was some kind of voucher for like $150. And
Sorry.
it called a love voucher. And then they said,
a love voucher.
You must, they call them love vouchers. And he said, you must pay attention to the instructions. You were not in the area when your flight was called, and you missed your flight. And I wrote back a rather scathing letter, and I said, really, I want my whole ticket refunded, if you could please do that. And I was in the area, and I was asking all the questions, and this is not me. This is on you guys. And she said, unfortunately, unless it's, and they never would admit that it was their error, ever.
Oh my
ever.
goodness.
They said, you were not in the area when your flight was called, you missed your flight. And
unfortunate.
That is not what happened. But we got famous because we got an interview on Fox 35 here, and then we had another couple of interviews. So it was kind of fun.
Everybody knows what really happened. That's the
Everybody
important
knows
thing.
what really
So,
happened.
Only
Yes,
on the Blind and Beyond show you get to know the real deal story.
exactly.
that's
And they
right.
tried to make it right at least, but
Right.
um, and some other day I'll tell you about our Brenda and Mike crazy trip where we had a layover of about 14 or 15 hours and
Oh no.
we ended up going down to Miami instead of Orlando because by the time they were flying into the Sanford Orlando airport, that airport was closed. So
Oh gosh.
they flew us down to Miami, and to make a long story short, Brenda and I decided to take an Uber home rather than dealing with. So we took an Uber from Miami. So that was exciting. But enough on airlines, because there are quite a few horror stories. But generally speaking, I would say that they're pretty good.
Yes.
And but you certainly do need to be an advocate for yourself as much as you can, because even when you do, we see that there can be problems. So if you're not on them all the time, it's easy to fall between the cracks. So,
Absolutely.
but
And then my other interesting trip I want to tell you about is, I believe it was 2010, and my youngest daughter, who is an adult by then, and my son, who was like 12, there's a big space between my last and my next to last, and we went to New York, and we flew to New York to Albany. We visited my other daughter who and some friends, and then we decided to go. It was around New Year's, and I have always wanted to personally be there when they drop the ball in
oh
Times
yeah,
Square. And I've never been to Times Square before, never been in New York City before. And so we rented a car and drove down to New York City, which was an adventure for my poor daughter, because it snowed and she'd never driven in snow, and that
oh
was
yeah, that's
really
exciting. I
exciting.
understand.
Yes, yeah. So we got to New Jersey, which is right across, and we went through. We stayed in New Jersey overnight. Went under the tunnel, went over to New York City, and that was quite an experience, because you think Disney's crowded. You should see New York on New Year's Eve, and
Oh, I can
you
imagine.
have to get there many hours ahead of time if you even want to hope to see the ball fall. And
Especially with security and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff. They're very,
absolutely.
very concerned about that, as they should be.
And it was really funny because we were trying to get as close as we could, and I took out my cane, and which is real fun to use your cane with about a million people around you, and you're
Oh
trying
yeah,
not to trip people, and
carve a
but it's
spot for yourself.
yeah, but cops the cops started going in front of us, and they go, "Excuse us, give us some room, a blind person's coming through." And I thought, oh my goodness gracious. But we were there at midnight. It was freezing. My my little son, who was about 11 or 12, was like, "No, I don't want to hold your hand. I'm not a little kid." And I said, "Well, you are tonight, so you got to stick with us," because it's just amazing how many people.
It's busy,
And
and yes.
it was unbelievable. But I heard the ball fall, and they saw it
Fantastic.
fall, and it's something I wouldn't want to do again. But it was definitely on my bucket list of things
Well,
to do.
tell you what, we were talking about that sponsor earlier, Cadence Tablet. You can maybe
Yeah.
feel stuff on that. So that might be something to consider. But
Indeed.
Miss Sherry, we will be right back. We're just going to
All
go
right.
for some quick break with some words from our sponsors. So
Don't touch
Okay.
that dial, as they say.
So we're talking.
Yeah, sorry about that. We will go to our word from our sponsor. I promise.
Dogs for the Blind believes everyone deserves to live the life they want to live. and to move through the world safely and confidently. That's why we offer a variety of programs at no cost to our clients. We match people who are blind or visually impaired in the U.S. and Canada with exceptional guide dogs. Guide Dogs for the Blind also provides a free orientation and mobility immersion program for people interested in learning the skills relevant to guide dog mobility. And our K9 Buddy program matches select dogs who are not suited to be guide dogs to be pets for people who are blind or visually impaired, including children and their families and adults of all ages. All of this is made possible by our generous donors and the help of thousands of incredible volunteers. To learn more about our life-changing mission, please visit guidedogs.com or call 800-295-4050.
There's so many days where I just want to pretend I'm not going blind, and I can't. With retinitis pigmentosa, the unknown is everlasting. What I want most is to stop this in its tracks. It all really boils down to my family, seeing my beautiful wife, seeing my kids. If only I could have more time. My hope here with the Foundation Fighting Blindness is to drive towards a cure. Donate now or get involved at fightingblindness.org.
Figuring out what comes next can feel uncertain, especially for teens and young adults who are blind or have low vision. At New View, Oklahoma, our Navigate Transition program helps young people move confidently into the next chapter after high school, whether college, career, or both. Navigate builds independence, skills, and self-confidence for what comes next. Through this immersive 2-week experience, young adults learn alongside peers while practicing real-world skills like financial management, meal preparation, assistive technology, orientation and mobility, and navigating the community. Participants also explore careers, build resumes, practice interviews, connect with professionals, and experience job shadows. Spots are limited and the program is offered at no cost. Learn more at newviewoklahoma.org. That's newviewoklahoma.org.
Haha, we are back here at the Blind and Beyond show. I'm Dave, and we've got Hershi, we've got Shri Brun, and a cast of thousands.
Yes, indeed. Good evening. Good evening.
And
thank you for joining.
Speaking of the cast of thousands, so as we take a short break from our chat with Shri,
man.
I wanted to ask if Brenda could read a couple of the items from the Blind and Beyond show, because I know that we had a couple.
Yes, I took a peek. By the way, iPhones were in 2008. That's all I got.
Ah, is that when it started? Okay.
That's when it started. But carry on.
Be darned.
I can't hear you, so.
That's all right. So here comes Brenda.
Hi guys, thanks for joining in tonight.
Thank you.
Kelly, listen, sorry, we don't have anybody really manning the chats, but she said a while ago that the iPhone came out in 2008.
There you go.
And she also wanted to know, where's this guy from Tennessee? Because she's coming in, Kelly James is coming in from Nashville. Tennessee.
Okay.
I'm glad I looked because I was going to say the wrong place. And also something about a trust and thrill to the tease.
So I guess there's a lot of thrill in Miss Shri, maybe?
There you go. I got it. There.
A lot of thrill in Miss Shri.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you so much for that.
That was excellent.
To answer the question,
and if you get any more that jump out at you, feel free to tap me on the shoulder or say, and we'll try to get them.
Surely.
Get
And
them in there, so.
Shri Roy, who was on in hour number 1, if you haven't, go to Blind and Beyond show on YouTube, and you'll find episode 3. So Shri originally came to Tennessee and studied in Tennessee and went to California, but currently he is in the Virginia area. I want to say maybe Alexandria?
Yeah, he's just outside of D.C., he says.
Something like that. Yeah.
So very close. So, yep, sorry, he's no longer in Tennessee there, Miss Kelly, but he was. You just missed him. There he went. No, just messing with you. But anyway, we appreciate you being there, and appreciate all the folks listening to the Blind and Beyond show. And back to Miss Sherry, who I'm thrilled to have on here, and I really thank you for taking the time to
Sure.
to join us. So we were talking about planes, and of course, there even charter planes are a possibility. Sometimes not that much more expensive than regular commercial travel. It just depends. But so getting coming down from the skies, and we will talk about some ground travel here now. Of course, there are boats, cruises.
Sorry.
We can always bring in cruises at some point, but that's actually probably a whole show we could cover on that. But so starting for basic transportation on the ground, of course we've got regular taxis that I'm sure everybody has taken, but we're in the world of high technology, Uber and Lyft. And let me take the opportunity. I actually discovered Uber not only has an app, but they actually have a phone number you can dial. It's not very...
I hear similar about Lyft too there, Dave.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find one for Lyft, but the actual number for Uber is 833 use Uber, which is 833-873-8237. So I've been asking around if someone has a number for Lyft. That would be great. But for those, I'm happy to use my app on Uber. But for those who are blind or may not even be blind, maybe you've got maybe someone's aged or they simply do not have.
I actually have a question for both of you. When was the first time that you took Uber or Lyft?
Wow, I took Uber a long time ago. I'm trying to think of when I first took it.
Okay, it wasn't
What
1970
about you,
something,
Sherry?
Dave.
I took Uber a
Not
long
like
time ago too, and I don't remember my first trip. I think I took it at least once in the beginning to a doctor's appointment. I've gone to other appointments, and then I think one of my earlier ones was meeting someone for lunch somewhere, and I took Uber. I use Uber and Lyft, and I also used Uber and Lyft both when I do not have a guide dog currently, but I have traveled with 3 different guide dogs over the years. And Uber and Lyft can be very challenging, and still is if you have a guide dog.
Right, exactly.
Like, yes,
In
I was
fact,
going to a friend's house one night, and I was standing in my driveway at my house, standing at the top of the driveway waiting. I heard this car pull in. He saw me, he saw my dog, he reversed and left. And there are just countless stories. And now with Uber, you can self-identify in your profile and say, I have a guide dog. And that way it goes into your profile. You know, there's a school of thought that says, I don't want anybody to know that I'm blind. I don't want anyone to know I use a guide dog, that it's none of their business whether I use a guide dog or a cane. But it seems like this self-identification thing is working really well. And people that have guide dogs are getting Uber drivers and Lyft drivers that are okay with guide dogs.
if it
So
saves you the hassle, it's
I
worth
I
it.
really agree. I agree.
But make sure
with you.
everyone understands that it is illegal for Uber to deny a
Illegal.
person
He
with
did not say legal. Illegal.
Illegal. Definitely
Exactly.
illegal.
No good.
And you can certainly report them, but unfortunately the drivers have found little sneaky ways of getting around some of that. So I think we've all heard the sad stories of especially folks with guide dogs that have gotten denied for one reason or another. And that brings me to another piece of transportation that I happen to know Sherry has also enjoyed here recently, that kind of takes that out of the equation of a driver refusing someone with a guide dog, and that's the autonomous vehicles, and especially where we've had experiences with Waymo, which
Yes.
is now come out in Orlando, and it's all over the country and some of the bigger groups. And you might tell me what your experience was with it. We didn't ride together, but I know that Sherry rode the day before I did as they were rolling it out in Orlando. We had very fortunate that that Waymo let us get an advanced ride and a little demo. So tell me your first thoughts and how it all came together for you.
Okay, well, I'm again in the National Federation of the Blind, and my state president was asked to participate, and I found out she was going to, and I said, well, surely you're going to include me because I'm right here in Orlando where I can use Waymo. You're
Wait,
not.
was she the same friend that helped you on the plane?
Yes. Yeah.
Shout out to you, Miss Camille.
We did the plane and we did the thing together.
Yeah, I don't know. She
Waymo.
sounds like she could be trouble. You might want to watch out. No, I'm kidding.
No, she's a good person.
Sherry and Camille getting into trouble.
I'm sure she's nice. But...
Yeah, we have adventures together. Anyway, we met at a coffee shop, which was their base of operations, I guess. Talked with Hannah, who was the representative. Very nice person, very helpful. She explained a few things to us, how the ride would work. It all was done from Hannah's app. However, she was not with us on the ride. And she explained to us that we'd be getting into the back seat of the car, that it was an SUV, and that in the front seat there are still it's an actual car with steering wheel, foot pedals, and all that stuff. But we would be riding in the back seat. So she would start us off. And so we went to this little park, which I can't remember the name of. And
Lake Lorna Doone, I do believe.
Yeah, Lorna Doone, something like that. And I've never heard of it. And I've been in Orlando a long, long time.
Right.
And we went to that park. It was about a 7 or 8 minute ride. I was amazed how smooth the ride was. The decelerations, the accelerations. I was also, when we very first got in, she demonstrated that you can have it play a localization tone. You can push a button on your app, on the app, and it will show you where it is. And,
yeah, I kind of wish that I had my app going and already set up. Of course, they didn't. It had not been already rolled out in town yet, so they didn't have it working on our own personal apps. But I'm excited to take a Waymo ride in Orlando just to see all the different features that are on the app. You can adjust the
absolutely
music, adjust your air temperature, all kinds of different things.
You can adjust how far the front seat is up or back. So if you do have a guide dog, there's plenty of room for the dog. I was just amazed how smooth the ride was. And I wish I could have seen the looks that we got, and we took videos. So there may be some of that on the videos, but it was fun just to talk and to feel very free, like you were in charge of where you were going.
And truthfully, were you concerned? I mean, personally,
No.
I was not as far
No.
as getting there safely. And you had mentioned about being blind, how we need to quite often be trusting of humans, but in this case, being trusting of a robot type device, I have no problem with that either, right?
I had no problem with that. It's interesting that my sighted friends have said I would not ride in one because I'm afraid they'd have an accident. And I said,
Right.
They're a lot less likely to have an accident than a human driver. And
Yeah, so-
that's true.
In my
So-
conversations with sighted and blind folks, that's what I've noticed too, is that the sighted people have the most difficulty letting go and trusting, but the blind people, I guess, are more experienced and used to it, so that it's not such a difficult thing. So, of course, with Waymo, they're scrutinize everything they do, and they're watched very carefully. So super safe, and couldn't be more
Super fun.
comfortable. And mine was in a Jaguar. I think it's
That was
a-
mine too. Same car, I think.
the E something or other. But
Yeah.
anyway, wonderful. If it comes to your town, certainly well worth checking out. And I understand money wise, it's very comparable to what Uber and Lyft would be. So.
Hey, Sherry, you mentioned you use the app. For you using it on your iPhone, how accessible was the app?
Well, I did not use the Waymo app, like Dave said, it wasn't set up for
Okay.
us to actually use it. However, just since then, I got a special code and I put that in. The app is very accessible for getting
Fantastic.
around, for using it. It's very, very accessible.
To
So
let our listeners know, Waymo is a subset of the Alphabet company. So Google and all of those, YouTube, it comes from that realm of things. But
yes.
they spend a lot of time to make sure that people like ourselves with vision loss or anything else have the equalness as everybody else that are sighted.
Plus, extremely safe. Like when the vehicle pulls up, there's a button on the app where you can actually have the vehicle make a particular sound, either a chime or a horn honk, and also a button that will unlock the car, or you can have it automatically undo the lock for you. So it's a nice feature, and all that's done with the app, which I also have the app now. Didn't have it working when we took our ride, which I understand that they will give you all kinds of various feedback to let you know where you are on the trip and whatnot. So
Yeah, we had that turned on my trip, and it told us, you're approaching this street, turning left onto such and such a street. So we knew where we were basically at all times. That was really great. So much information that you don't get when you're riding in an Uber or a Lyft. So
exactly, and I might mention that the last Uber I took was just a couple days ago. A very nice gentleman with limited English. Couldn't have been nicer. Dropped me off at the restaurant. I get out, and well, turns out it really wasn't the restaurant. It was. It was a few stores down, so I had to do a little investigating. But yeah, so that's the other trick. Just because you have a human driving doesn't necessarily mean they're always going to give you the best info. So I would have just about as good a chance, I think, or maybe better with Waymo. So
you both have got me so excited about taking one. But if I wanted to, and I live in Daytona Beach, so if I wanted to come out there in Orlando, whereabouts can I potentially use this service? Because I know it's not.
Yeah, right now,
around.
Hirsch, I did have my son look on the app for me, and he has the app. I told him to download it because I was hoping we could ride together, which we haven't done yet. But right now, it's in more the touristy areas like Universal, going out toward Disney, but more in the Universal area. But it's going to branch out as time goes on.
As they have a chance to map the different places, I
yes.
think that has a lot to do with it.
I mean,
But
conferences, NFB conference, A show. I mean, catching it there, this would be a lot time
that would
saver.
Be so cool.
Just quick, you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, take your Waymo ride to the tech conference would be awesome.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
So you do this with an app to call Waymo or Uber or Lyft. There is one other one that I would be remiss if I didn't mention. A couple people had said that they had mentioned about the what is it? Go Grandparents, I think, is a group that if you go on the internet, you can hunt them down, and they will actually call Uber or some of these other groups for you and monitor and just in case you're super worried. They will hold your hand through all that stuff, but you really don't need it.
No.
And especially now that we know that Uber's got a phone number, so
that's great. I also want to mention with Aira. I guess you guys have discussed Aira some with the visual guidance.
We haven't per se, but Aira stands for something.
What is it? I don't. AIRA.
Right, the spelling is different. So, like when we're like saying Aira, so spelling, let's at least say that. So AIRA.
And we'll say accessible something.
Yeah.
Is it Explorer or is it called just Aira? Because there's also Aira Explorer. I remember.
Aira Explorer is the app.
Okay, that's the name of the full app. So what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is on the App Store or on the Play Store if you have Android, search AIRA Explorer, and that will. Ms. Sherry will explain. What does it do?
Okay, that will put you in touch with the company Aira, AIRA, and they do I use Aira a lot. Their primary purpose at first was to help you get from point A to point B and navigate. Like say you're in a hotel and you're not sure of your way around, or they'll guide you. They'll pull up the map and say, okay, to get to this room, or you're in a mall and it's like we have the Florida Mall in Orlando, which is huge. And I've used them to find my way around that mall.
So
But
they're using your camera though, right? So
yes,
in
they
order
can
to be
see
able to find
you,
their way around,
but
like Be
then on
My
their,
Eyes.
yes, they're using your camera. They're watching you on their camera through your camera. And they're also got their computer up and running. So they pull up the map of wherever you are going and they
Right.
can direct you. So Aira is not a free service. There is a charge. But if you are a member of either the American Council of the Blind or the National Federation of the Blind, or I believe Blind Veterans Association even, you can get a plan which gives you a certain amount of minutes every month. And it's not bad. It's not that expensive. And what I found I use Aira more for than traveling is computer issues. If suddenly you can't get your computer to talk and it freezes and JAWS, you can't get it back, or you can't, it's not, you can call Aira and they'll help you. And they'll also help you with tasks if you hit an inaccessible website, because they can actually share your screen. And unlike the iPhone text, they can navigate with your screen. You give them permission and they can do that. And they can help you if you have a very inaccessible app that you're working with, or a website.
And one other important thing too is that, of course, a lot of people know the free app of Be My Eyes, which can also be very helpful too. But the Be My Eyes folks are all volunteers, and they do a good job and work hard. But
right.
But I've heard that Aira, they tend, well, for one thing, like you say, it does cost a small amount, small fee, but they do quite a bit more, and also they tend to have people that are, I don't know, just a little more tech savvy, and
yes,
they're paying a little more attention, I think.
Well, and they are trained to help you with travel. They are trained to know what they have to tell you, what information they need to give you. So but you have to be using a mobility aid. They won't just guide you walking down the street with no cane or no dog.
That's important. That's good.
So
I'm glad,
You have to be using a mobility aid or they will not help you, because
that's
it is
probably
not safe.
Yeah, no, makes perfect sense.
As Dave alluded to it, Be My Eyes is volunteer based, whereas Aira is paid employees. So if you're working in a business, whatever, corporate America, etc., they can actually look at documentation, even though you may have HIPAA things, violations that could potentially get you in trouble, but they are allowed to look at your screen because they have to sign an agreement that they will not kind of a non-disclosure.
They can't share your information. Yes,
exactly.
And the other thing, I feel like I'm going a little far afield here, but
go ahead.
The other,
it's the Beyond Show.
The other good thing about Aira is there are some free offers, and some cities actually pay Aira to make some of their places free. Yes, so once you get in there, you're not using your minutes. For example, a lot of stuff in downtown Orlando, in the city of Orlando, is covered by Aira.
Really?
By Aira offers. Nice. I don't know if you knew that, but it is.
Downtown, okay.
A lot of Jacksonville downtown is covered by Aira. The airports, most airports, I don't know if Orlando still is. It was covered by Aira. So if you're going to catch a plane,
if it's not,
yeah, I think it is. And you can just go through. They can direct you through security. They can make sure you get your stuff. You don't really have to ask for assistance. I've known people who did it. I have not done it yet with no assistance.
I'm going to have to do a little checking into the Aira myself, because it does sound like it could be.
It's wonderful. I just can't say enough good things about it. They also have offers for if you're filling out a job application or you're job seeking. They'll go to wherever your job site is or wherever you're looking and help you look and help you fill out the whole application, and that's free. So there are lots of offers that they have. Different museums are free. Chase banks are free right now. If you go in a Chase bank, you're trying to do something, they'll guide you through, they'll get you where you need to go. If you have a problem with Chase online, you just activate that and they'll help you if you're having trouble with the Chase app. So
nice.
it's I can't say enough good things about
I've
Aira.
also heard, Miss Sherry, Target and Walmart are actually on that list too now.
Yes, they are.
Oh, darn.
Yes,
You know,
certainly
one
are.
thing we've talked about so many different transportation. I feel guilty. The most obvious one that that most people would probably be thinking about for blind folks is our own paratransit, and they have certainly been wonderful at various times, but they've got their limitations, and
yes, they do.
I think we've all used them for going back and forth to work and doctor's visits and things like that. And
one thing I could say Miss Orlando for is a 24-hour paratransit. I live in Volusia County. I got to be home by 9:00.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, when you think you got it bad, then you go over to Daytona and you find out that it's bad, but then you got even limited amount of time you can use it. So
exactly.
Yes.
One thing I wanted to bring to both of y'all's attention as well when we were talking about Be My Eyes and Aira. Be My Eyes also does have AI built in called Be
Yes,
My
it
AI.
does. It's wonderful.
And Aira is working along with Google to bring something similar.
Yes.
I've read up on it, but I just don't know much information.
Okay. Again, we're branching out, but if you guys want me back, I can tell you more about Aira and the AI. I use all of that, and it's it's great. Now you can actually call Aira AI, and it will say, "This is your AI assistant. How may I help you?" Like it's a person, and you can say, "Could you look at this and tell me what you see?" Sure.
Yeah, that
And
could
it just
be
talks
very
in a
helpful.
it's very helpful. And they have a person monitoring. So if the AI says something really screwy, they'll come on and say, "Hey, this is an agent. The AI told you incorrectly. This is how it really is." So
Gotcha.
it's very cool. But I
Well, we
wanted to
definitely
talk.
want to do that for sure. Get you on, talk to you more about Aira too. So I'm sorry.
I was going to touch on the train. I've been taking
Yes. Go ahead.
the train lately a lot of places.
Yeah,
I
I'm
have a
sorry.
friend
I
in
know we're going a bit longer than
I'll
originally
hurry.
planned, but
No
no
need to hurry.
there's no rush.
We're just letting
I feel
our
bad
guest
for you.
audience know.
No, it's fine.
But
If you want to stay, you could stay all you want, Miss Sherry. So
Oh, no, that's
continue on
okay.
and telling us your stories because I'm really fascinated. I've been taking notes and learning from you.
Actually,
so.
the train
Thank
and
you,
bus. I would love to hear a little bit about your travels if you got time.
I've been traveling Amtrak quite a few for the past year or so, mostly back and forth between Tampa and Orlando.
Just the
but
Amtrak, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
just Amtrak.
Okay.
That's it. Not. I haven't ever ridden the Sunrail ever, and I want to someday,
Right.
but I haven't. And I haven't ever taken Brightline,
No, me
which
neither.
goes down
I'll come
South
take
Florida.
Sunrail, come meet you guys in Orlando. We'll take the Waymo to downtown or Universal
That'd be
Study
fun.
Walk.
Where we catch a train, and then
and then we'll end up in Tampa, and then we'll come back after Hard Rock.
There you go.
There you go.
Sounds like a lot of fun to me.
After we won a few thousand on the slots.
But
so please fill us in on the train.
the train, the people that help are usually very good, and if you say you need assistance, they'll help you get to what car you're boarding on, and help you find a good seat and get you seated. They'll also help you when you get to your destination. I always say I need to get to wherever I would pick up a cab or an Uber, and they show me where that is, and then I get an Uber to where I need to go. The other thing Amtrak offers is bus service from the Amtrak station. So you're not locked into, because their trains don't run all that often. There's one to Tampa. I think it's just one, but there's a bus also. And as long as you take the train one way, you can take the bus the other. They're both about a little over 2-hour trips. So I do that because
that's about the same as driving. Anyway,
yeah, it
so
is.
It's not bad.
It is, and it's comfortable,
Have you
especially
taken
the
it to
train.
Fort Lauderdale or Miami area?
I haven't done that. I haven't,
because we were talking West Coast of Florida.
Yeah, I think if I was gonna go to Fort Lauderdale, I'd try Brightline because everybody says that is just great.
Yeah,
So
I've
I
I've
don't know.
talked to many that do, and the big trick is to catch it when they have discounts because the
It's
normal
expensive.
fees can be a little expensive.
Yeah.
To let you know, Sunrail does give discounts. So if you are disabled, you would put in disabled and get your card or ticket for that day. So there is a discount if you are utilizing the Sunrail as far
But
as I.
Hersh, it doesn't actually, does it stop in Daytona?
It actually goes to DeLand, but the
That's what I thought.
paratransit does not go there. So I start off in DeBerry, and then
Oh.
what I did for the Asia conference, I took it over to Sanford, and rather than spending $80 from my house to get to iDrive, I was
Mhm.
able to get there for $50, $57 or so. So I took it
Oh.
from the Sanford. I took an Uber Lyft from the Sanford station, and that station has the parking lot on the right hand side. Otherwise, you're crossing the track on every other station. So
Mhm.
Sanford is a safe station to come off the train and then just walk towards the parking lot.
Oh,
Whereas the other
okay.
stations, you have to cross the tracks to get to the side of the Uber, Lyft, whatever parking lot.
Right.
So they are there's it goes all the way down to Point Siena. I think that's the last station. Point Siena, Tupperville or Tupperware.
Yeah,
Uh,
Tupperware, the audit, that
Trying
area,
to
in
think.
Kissimmee. Yeah.
Orlando Health, Florida Hospital,
Yeah.
Altamont, Altamont.
Yeah.
What's the other city where you live by, Dave? Longwood,
Castleberry,
Longwood,
oh
Longwood.
Longwood, yeah,
Yeah, so
north of us.
Longwood, and then Sanford, DeBerry, DeLand. So
Oh.
it's not bad if you want to, take a day out, but do refer to your transportation stuff because these days Volusia has changed some transportation bits, so buses and stuff are more difficult. And then in Sanford, you could take, I believe there's like a bus service, which is how some people get around. It used to be called Neighborhood Link, I think, years ago.
Uh-huh.
It's a new
But
system
It's a
in
new
new
Seminole
system. It's
system.
called
County.
Seminole County. It's called Scout.
Scout.
And
There you are. Thank you.
you know who knows about that? I think is Chris that was on your show a couple of
Saka.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Chris
Yes.
Saka knows about Scout. I think he's used it. I have not.
Well, I definitely will be asking him soon on that too. So one more question to get to bug us old Mr. Sack about. That
All
would be
right.
that's
Well,
great.
Ms.
So
Sherry, is there anything that we've forgotten that you want to share with our audience or have a message for our audience here at Blind and Beyond Show on YouTube?
Basically,
keep it clean, of course.
keep a yeah, right. Keep a positive. Try to keep a positive
No.
attitude.
Positive is fine, but
and have your patience. Bring
yes,
plenty of patience with you because you never know what's going to happen. You may
and
end
go
up
for
on
the
a
thrill,
private
like our
plane
friend
going
said.
home.
Right, go for the thrill sometimes because our friend in the chat, Miss Kelly James said, a tease could be thrill, and sometimes
Yeah.
our adventures are a thrill to
Yes.
be okay. You might have anxiety, but you have help. You have perhaps phones. You have actual human beings.
Yes.
Ain't that something?
And if you're willing to reach out and ask, it's no problem. For example, when I got dropped off at the wrong place for Uber, I opened a door and said, "Hey, can you tell me what place this
What
is?"
this is? Yeah.
Do you know where there's a diner? Oh yeah, there's a diner down just a few buildings or a few stores down. So I mean, easy enough. All you have to do is ask. People are happy to help out if they can. So that's the way it works.
Yeah. Just have patience and do your advocate for yourself. Find out, as much information as you can ahead of time. That way you feel more comfortable about
And we
embarking
know
on an
nobody's
adventure.
perfect.
No.
There are people that make mistakes, and we get that, and we have to be patient with them, just as hopefully they'll be patient with us. So
That's right.
is the way it works. Well, Sherry, it has been wonderful talking
Thank
to you,
you.
and I'd love to have you back on. And unfortunately, there's so many things we could talk about that I would like to talk about you raising your kids because I know that the kids, once they find out that a parent with that's blind, I would imagine they might test some boundaries
Oh
and
yes.
things. So
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I'd love to talk about that, and of course we know that they do that with sighted folks too. So that's
Just different boundaries.
exactly.
And Miss Sherry, if you'd like, go ahead and tag your friend Miss Camille. She could come and tell her story.
All right.
In her
We'll be
perspective.
happy to talk to Camille anytime, and of course maybe find out a little more about her adventures with the NFB.
Okay.
And we didn't talk to you much about that, but I know that you're I know you're involved with one of the more unusual groups of the.
Actually,
of
I would like to
NFB.
know, what is that? Like, could you explain
what
the
what are
NFB
you?
group? You said you have a specific NFB group, which is not, it's a
What?
non-traditional group.
No, I'm involved with two. I'm involved with the Tampa chapter because right now the Central Florida chapter is kind of in flux.
Gotcha.
That's the best way I can put it. And and I'm also involved in the NFB statewide, which is for people who don't have a local chapter or who are not real
That's
thrilled
what I
with
was
their local
thinking of.
chapter.
The
Statewide
statewide
is what
one.
I'm in. It's open to anybody, and even if you're a member, say you're a member of Daytona, you want to join statewide, you can do that too. So
Fantastic.
Very
I really
welcoming
like.
group
They
of
meet.
people
They're
too.
very nice people. They meet once a month on Zoom, and we try to meet at the convention and have a meeting where we can meet, and get to know each other a little bit personally. So
Meeting at
statewide is
Zoom's
a
nice and
great
easy
chapter.
though too. So
It is
that's,
easy. It is
I love
most of the
that.
time.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
check us out, you guys. You're welcome
And
to
usually,
call in.
state of Florida has their conventions in October. So
Yes, and
if
it is going to be in October this year in Jacksonville.
we actually had one of your friends on, Russ Davis, from
Yeah, good
Jacksonville.
old. All right,
And
awesome.
Russ already got Dave and I to talk about ham radio, so we already clocked in, I think.
Oh, cool. All right, that's good.
We got
That's
to do it
good.
last October, and Russ was just
Yes,
an amazing person. You're
he's
an
a
amazing
nice.
person,
He's a
so
good.
thank you so
Thank you.
much for
Well, you're amazing
the
too,
stories.
Hirsch.
I appreciate you. Thank you
You,
so much. And
all
the
right.
stories
And you,
are
Dave.
needed.
We're
Oh,
just an amazing bunch of people.
Appreciate that.
true. It
Thank you
is
for letting
true.
me be on the show. It's great.
Absolutely. Anytime, please come back, and more stories
Okay.
are always welcomed.
Yeah, actually,
All
what we
right.
need to do is get your son in here so we can he can tell the stories of mom.
The
that we
real
won't
stories,
we,
huh?
we
The
won't
real
get
story.
from Sherry.
Oh,
So
he has a bunch of them.
yeah, that's it. We'll work out something. Slip him a couple bucks or something so we can get those special stories. So that's okay.
All
So
right.
thank you so much for your
Thank
time,
you.
and that was
Thank you.
great
Thank
and
you.
Great.
really fun too.
All right. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we actually are going to have a few more minutes here.
Blind and beyond. Blind and beyond.
It's the Blind and Beyond show
with Harshid Trivedi
And Dave Hillerbrand.
They'll be talking to all kinds of interesting people in the blindness community and beyond.
We're right here. We're right here. We didn't go nowhere. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's been such a blast to hear Shri, to hear Miss Sherry Brun, and that's Shri Roy. If you want to catch him, go to iBug today. Go check out the cafe. He talked about the Bard app actually yesterday. And if you want to come on to the show, email us blindandbeyondshow@gmail.com. Again, that is blindandbeyondshow@gmail.com. So, Dave, how's it been?
It has been great. A fun show.
Wait. Is that you actually playing that right now?
It's me, baby.
Oh, snap, crackle, pop. Look at this guy. He just pops it out of nowhere. Dave's yelled at me already. He's like, this is not call your song and I'll play it. So I have to keep my mouth shut. I can't tell him play reggae.
That's right. This is not request hour. We might do that one of these days, though.
What, let the chat call out what you're going to play?
Yeah, the
We
only
need our-
the only thing is we can't do cover songs on here because
Nope.
the copyright problems.
Well, you can, but you know what's so funny, Dave? They say never, ever, ever, ever play the Eagles on YouTube.
I could see that.
But guess what? I heard it played on a sitar. What the what? It blew my mind listening to
Just
that.
unusual enough instrumentation that
But it didn't sound like it. But it sounded.
they didn't figure it out.
But yeah, Dave, fantastic guest. What do you think? You gonna go learn that Mac?
You know what? I think I will. No, I definitely will.
Because it's not that hard. I mean,
Brenda's got a couple
more people. Come
more
on in.
things to
Come on in, Miss Brenda.
Before we finish up. Which side would you like?
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, just real quick, I wanted to add thanks again to all of you who are listening in and catching us later on Catch Up. Kurt at New York City said, Hersh, Kate and I are watching from New York City.
Fantastic.
Anyway,
Well, thank you so much.
It's,
Wow, Kurt's watching. Holy moly. What's up, Kurt? Kurt's one of my best friends. I've known him since, I don't know, 3rd grade or something.
Very nice. Thank you for
Kurt,
that,
don't make
Miss
fun of
Brenda.
me with my technicals too much, please. I don't have Stream Decks and all the cool toys you have, but I hope you've enjoyed the show so far. I hope you're staying warm up there in New York, because I know you guys had some blizzards and all kinds of craziness up there, but really appreciate you. You know what, Kurt? Would you mind coming on the show
They've got
one
some big
day?
apples up there, I understand.
Oh, very big apples, man. Dave, you know what? We should have
I can't resist,
my
sorry.
friend Kurt. Really, I think we should bring him in. This guy at least deals with this guy. That's the blind guy named Hershi Bar,
Yeah.
the blind accessible resource, as I call myself. But it's not only that; it's the friendship, and it's how even your friends. How do they guide you? Do you have friends that just take you out and say, "Come on, Dave, we gotta go"?
Indeed. Yep.
What do they do? Do they pull you by your collar, or do they pull you by your hair? Or I'm kidding.
Usually,
I'm kidding.
usually earlobe.
Don't do that, please, ladies and gentlemen. Don't do that to people. But carry on. Sorry,
Usually
Dave.
earlobe or something, or shirt sleeve.
I thought that would be Brenda doing that to you.
No, you know what? It is amazing. Most of my sighted friends learn pretty quickly about if I wanted help for me to grab their elbow. But when the thing I found is when if I feel they don't know at the very beginning, I offer it immediately. How about if I grab your arm? Because it puts people at ease a lot quicker, and no reason for both of us to wonder how to approach it and whatever. So I just jump in there and say, and typically they're quite
Hey, Dave, did you
happy
see
with
that?
that.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Did you see that? Did you watch TV? That's another thing we gotta tell real quick.
My friend, dude, you don't watch TV. Why do you need a TV stand?
Yeah, you're allowed to say you're blind. You can still say, "Hey, I watch TV." Yes, I've heard that joke only a few thousand times.
Just
you can't
half a
watch
dozen, few
TV.
dozen.
What do you say? Come on, guys.
But please, ladies and gentlemen,
Figure of
don't be shy to say you see. We don't have our friend Mike today for the show, unfortunately. We'd love to have Mike. Maybe email a Blind and Beyond radio show and let him know you want Mike back. So he's learning from me with screen readers, and sometimes with these little in-between things, we don't know what we're going through, right? Like if a screen reader user is using a computer, they don't know what we're hearing. And a sighted person might take that for granted, but then we may not understand the sighted counterpart when they're clicking and changing video sources and spotlighting you. And so it's a two-way street. Just respect each other is the biggest thing you could do. And with respect comes, it's okay to say jokes. I could see. You see? I see, said the blind guy, is what I usually say. But anyhow, Dave, you think we want to give him some little bit of a taste of the Blind and Beyond radio show? I know we had our good friend Derek Selbo on there yesterday from Colorado, and you and I've actually had friendship with him quite a long time.
That would be an excellent idea, except for we're having some minor technical difficulties, and I don't believe we're going to be bringing the show
fine.
from last night.
But you know what? www.blindandbeyondradioshow.org.
That's right. All you got to do is go there for the archives.
Go search for 2026. If you do shows 2026, if you want to do a quick JAWS find.
It's easy to find right at the very bottom of the archives.
And if you're interested in this show and you want to help out, consider donating, right? blindandbeyondradioshow.org, excuse me, and then look for the link for donate. They are a 5013C, and we are a offshoot of this on YouTube, of course, but we always like connecting with you, our audience.
It all helps.
It helps, but we get to learn from you. Thank you, Kelly James, again, for letting us know that iPhones were released in 2008. Thank you, Steve Jobs, for bringing this innovation to the table.
Good job, Steve.
Very good job in heavenliness, but at the same time, we're solving problems, and sometimes we don't know what those problems may be, but as a collective, we could really identify fallbacks, and even if you have other disabilities, I would love to talk to you, because again, funding is always a problem for any disability. How can we get more funding to get something like a Cadence tablet, to get a wheelchair for a person that might need a wheelchair? I have MS, I have multiple sclerosis, I have a vision loss, but with what I have doesn't mean that it's the end of the day. And where can we find sources? Call Dave. No, I'm kidding. People like Dave and people like Shri, Russell, Dave Schleppenbach, they all definitely have great information. And if you have anything to share with us, please, this is your stage.
We're learning from each other,
curious.
and that's how it works, you know. So
no, we don't play by rules. We just keep it with the flow. Well, we have some rules, but you know, we want to just bring you good content. Hey, Dave, you know what? Let me try some. Let's play with fire real quick. Let's put some technical stuff together, okay? I'm gonna bring in audio only of your Waymo ride, if you don't mind. Okay.
That sounds scary.
Don't be scared.
Okay, give it a shot. See what happens. I'm hearing it. So this is when I'm riding with Greg Lindbergh in a Waymo ride. So this is just a little 2 or 3 minute blip we'll do here. So Greg is, I'll do some video description here. Greg is getting in the,
thank you, sir.
Alrighty. Getting in the vehicle, bringing in the dog. Miss Hannah, the rep from Waymo, is going to give our final instructions.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the door and I'm going to hit start ride for you.
Thank you.
There is a touch screen in front of you with a big button on it, and it's of course through the app. But I'm going to keep my phone so I can track your journey. So I'm going to hit start ride today.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, no, most important thing is have fun. Can't wait to hear all about it. I will meet you back here in about 15 minutes.
Nice. Thanks a lot.
Wow, here we
go. Woohoo, let her rip, baby. Here, right, starts the ride. That's right.
Hopefully not the Stardust Racer.
It's like a ride where we're actually going somewhere. Oh.
Wow.
Going to Lorna Doone Park.
By the way, Greg,
I don't know,
come on the show.
Did she mention, is there a steering wheel? Is there an actual wheel? Do you know?
Well, we're...
Front?
Yeah, I don't know. I assume there must be, but
I would think.
we'll have to find that out, too. And there is, my friends.
Wow.
I am rather glad that she is monitoring it, though. Watching where... Wait a minute, it is going on somewhere different than...
Into a lake. She mentioned, Lake whatever parks.
Right. So that's something to consider, yeah.
Lake Nona, right? Is there an actual lake there? I don't even know.
Yeah, can't we go to a park where there is no lake? I mean, just saying, just in case. Well, it's a smooth ride so far.
Yeah. This is something.
I hope you don't mind. I did bring my trusty Ray-Ban, so I'm gonna try to catch some.
But I'm gonna use my phone to just record a little.
Yeah, that's good too.
Hopefully, I'm aiming in the right direction. Like the ride, buddy. It's a self-driving car, right? It's a Waymo. Yeah.
So that probably gives you a good little taste here for just the audio anyway. But My wife was mentioning the whole time that there are people that were driving past that were looking at us rather strangely. What is this car with no driver? Well, it's the new Waymo, and so it was just a really wonderful experience, and we so appreciate Waymo for letting us get in on the action and try it out first. But I'm going to definitely be using it.
What I will do for you, ladies and gentlemen, I will try to post just the video, so that way you could get visuals of what Dave was seeing with the glasses. So please do look on our channel. We had a little issues technically to
We'll get that up,
get Zoom,
though, you know.
get it playing on Zoom. So we have it ready, but I will upload it separately onto the YouTube channel. So it's just going to be a small clip of Dave riding along with Greg Lindbergh. And we do call you out, Greg. Please come on to the show, because I know you have incredible stories, and you have a lot of sports going on too, I think, right? So anyhow, Dave, did you really enjoy that trip, or were you like, what was your overall experience?
It was wonderful.
You
It
call
really
it 10
was
out of
wonderful,
10?
and I'm going to certainly use it as often as I can. So I just a perfect a mix of technology and plus just a wonderful service where, especially blind people with guide dogs, one less thing to worry about having somebody turn you down, so for a ride. So Waymo is great for that, and something to check for sure when it makes it to your town. And we certainly want to thank Shri and Sherry.
Absolutely. That was. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Tree there, because again, I was like, he has so much fascinating things that he could bring to the table, and we were texting back and forth. Wait, what do I talk about? Yourself. So for anybody, don't be shy. Just be yourself and let it rip, like Dave said in the car. Okay, so let's get some little music from Dave, because we don't get enough music from Dave when we're on the Blind and Beyond radio show. So here's Dave giving you a little freestyle.
As we say goodnight, come to see us next week.
Do not forget, please like, subscribe, and leave comments down there, because I do read them. And if we could connect, if we could help you with if you have questions about what we talked about today, if you want resources, put them down in the comments. I'll read them and try to connect with you. If not, you could always email us, blindandbeyondshow@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from you. If you have ideas for what our next episode should be, let us know. If you don't talk, we can't hear you. Is that the words, Dave? If you talk,
That's
we
the
don't hear you.
words.
Okay. But it's always been a pleasure to meet these great folks. Sherry, again, I lived in Orlando for quite some time there, and to see some of these people again or hear their stories, it always brings warmth to my heart, because Central Florida is just with a bunch of warm people, I think. Warm-hearted people. And not to say my friend in New York, Kurt, you're actually a Floridian originally, but I appreciate all the support that we've had. Hey, to the Ham Radio family, thank you all so much, from Paris to Ireland to the UK, and in between, maybe Africa, Finland.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.
And, if you...
Drop a comment, too.
Like he said. And if you like something specific, really, let the mothership know that you want more of that. So we are more than happy to serve you, our audience, and I hope you share it with your friends, because again, we're trying to bring value to you, and it's not a show only for blind people. It's a show that hopefully I and Dave entertain the sighted, the blind, let's see, hearing loss, vision loss, mobility impairment. I don't know if that's the right one. Anyway, all the different abilities and disabilities. We care about you. this is your Beyond show. So, again, please reach out to us. Dave, it's always been a pleasure with doing the show with you. I hope we didn't screw it up too bad with the camera switching and stuff. Please be kind. Rewind. Your cassette tapes, I mean.
But otherwise, sorry.
That's all we could say. And,
see you next time.
See you. Take care. Much love.